World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, happy Tuesday ho sa inyong lahat. Magandang gabi ho sa inyo. Welcome ho. We're broadcasting live ho mula ho rito sa ating studio sa London. Good evening. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN at welcome po sa ating palatuntunang Legal Advice Corner, a regular program on a Tuesday evening. Ito ho ay dagdag kaalaman para ho sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ho ng United Kingdom. Pero syempre, ito ay dagdag kaalaman ho sa batas. Ika nga, dito ho sa United Kingdom, Pero syempre, welcome ho kayo mga kababayan natin na nanonood ho sa atin sa apat ng sulok ng Europa, sa apat ng sulok ng mundo, saan mang bahagi ho kayo ng mundo naroon na nakikinood ho sa amin. Welcome ho dito po sa Legal Advice Corner. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN, gaya ng nasabi ko. Pero hindi ho ako ang star of the show. Ang star of the show natin ho yung, ito yung managing partner ng isang law firm dito ho sa United Kingdom. At siya ho ay nagbigay sa atin ng pride dahil Pinay ho ang on top at the helm of a law firm, siya ho, At ito ho pupunta ho ng Greece bukas. Mangungumusta tayo dahil galing ho kami ng Greece from February 10 to the 14th. We celebrated our Valentine's celebration doon. And we had a grand time. It's a very historic place, ang Athens, Greece ho, At tayo rin ho inapunta sa, isang island ho, yung Aegina. Pero doon din pupunta yata yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada. So welcome na natin syempre. Ito ho yung star of the show natin, ang pinakamamahal natin, Brains and Beauty ho to. Walang iba kundi yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada ng bayan dito ho sa United Kingdom, managing partner of Deo Valente Solicitors. Walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto. Attorney, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back tuloy po kayo. Ito na naman tayo sa ating remote social bubble. Although wala na ata ngayon. Matatanggal na ang mga coronavirus regulations. We're at the start of going back to somewhat normal. And with that, si Mr. Laragan na una ng nag-travel, and I too, as what Mr. Laragan said, this probably is my first proper leisure travel in Europe after 2 years simula nung nagka-pandemya. So quite excited, nakakatuwa kasi hindi lang yon, yung excitement as well that we're getting back bits of our lives previously, yung normalcy. So it's a good month. It's a good springtime. Malapit na, I could round it up. You're looking fabulous, Mr. Laraga.
Am I? Really?
You're getting slimmer.
Am I?
Then,
look is really always.
And more sobrang chic, parang talagang fashionable. So nakakatawa. It's very
courtesy of Greece, Athens, Greece to. Yes,
makahanap natin ng suit doon.
Hindi, maganda. Na-champo kami. We were there, may sale And so, wow. I was going around Sunday, went to the shops, went to Zara, H&M, you name it, walang sale nga, walang sale. Pero, the same clothes na makikita mo ngayon, by this time, abangan mo na lang sa sale. I don't know if you go for sales, no?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, ang galing na sale talaga.
Nag-aabon din ako ng sale. Bakit ka bibili ng full price kung pwede
Yes. Yes, yes. I 70% attorney, no, nung ako'y nasa Greece. All of these things, less than 70%. Wow, saan mo na makakukuha yan? And like I was mentioning, yung hat na did I mention it to you or did I mention to hindi ko alam kung sa'yo ko nabili. Yung hat na yung hat na nabibili mo sa hindi ko matanda ko H&M or saan yun, no? It's $17 na nabili ko rito. The same na hat is $6 lang. Yan, yung suot ko na yan, that's $17, 17 pounds sa UK. But the same one in Greece, from the same store, from the same maker, from the same everything, it's just 6 pounds. 6 euros. Oh.
6 euros.
Yan. Yan, no.
Wow.
Ayun,
Nako,
no.
it's talagang may new wardrobe ka ata, Mr. Natuwa ako every Tuesday you come here and talaga namang fashionable and chic outfits, talagang ma-outfit of the day ka. Parang ano din naman, makabalik nga ng ako pa-upgrade nga din ng para
tama ka. I was able to upgrade. I had to check my because like you said, I'm losing a bit of weight, no. So I had to review my wardrobe, and I was able to tanggalin kung ano yun, tapos siguro i-store or give away kasi nga some of them are really really loose. Sobrang loose na. I was imagining mo, ang tagal-tagal ko na from I was even up to 36 yung aking waistline at saka XL yung mga polo shirts ko, no. Now parang ang luwag nila.
Wow!
Parang
amazing! Nakaka-inspire.
Yeah.
Very
well,
good.
Nakaka-inspire ginagawa mo yung legs, thumbs, bumps and
legs, bumps, and thumbs. Yes.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Instant. Talaga nga naman si Direk, no? Instant.
Shout out sa Direk namin. Napakagaling. Nandiyan agad
sinasabi pa lang, pak, instantly, andyan na, ano?
Instant na. Ayan. Thank you, Direk. Salamat
But that's good.
po, Direk.
But that's good. Legs. Ano to? Uy, wow. Ano yan, attorney? Ano ginagawa mo rin?
I was stretching. Isa yan sa mga yoga pose. It's called cow face pose. So, I did a light cardio, tsaka weights, and I was just feeling a bit tight on my right leg. So I needed to stretch. So light yoga then. And that's one of my favorite poses to just balance out yung hips. So that's a cow face pose.
Question.
Yes.
Wala kang problema tumayo after that? Kasi if I do that, I sit on parang yung tag dito, dyan sa regular na pagka matagal pag taas ko yung sides, yung sa joints sa legs ko, ang sakit. So wala kang problema?
Wala naman po. I'm double jointed.
Okay, good. Galing.
But I'm double jointed, so I'm naturally quite flexible. So yun and to be honest, that could be a problem as well, in terms of overextending yung mga joints natin. So you do need to stretch it out. I'm sure maraming mga kababayan natin din mga double jointed. Ewan ko ba, maraming Pilipino atan double jointed.
Can you do lunges?
Yeah, I can do that.
Good. Okay. Kasi when I did it for the first time, tumba ako eh.
Yeah.
It's difficult to balance and everything. Tsaka masakit. And I had a stabbing pain no sa singit ko. Nung when I first did a lunge.
Split or lunges? Split or lunge?
No, lunge lang. Lunge. Lunge lang. L-U-N-G-E, di ba? Lunge.
Yeah, lunge. Warrior 1, yun yung normal lunges sa yoga. Warrior 1, Warrior 2. So those are the...
Okay.
May flow yan, Mr. Lars. Quite good actually. It's very, akala mo mild. Akala mo, tame lang. Tapos, minsan talagang parang mas grabe pa yung cardio doon. And you're really putting yung body weight mo, yung magiging parang apparatus mo, equipment mo, dahil you're pushing yourself up, you're stretching yourself. It's really good. Hindi ako sobrang galing. I practiced on and off for years. Dati mas frequent, but I find it very very good for stress management or just general health management. Kasi, alam mo, minsan pag nagsastretch ako sa racket, maririnig mo yung mga joints mo eh.
Bukurtok? Tok-tok? Ano?
Magalaw eh. Tapos sobrang, you feel relieved. And,
right, okay.
It's very...
Relief dahil na-stretch ya, ganon? Na-stretch?
Kasi with running, you encounter a fair amount of wear and tear, kumbaga, kasi ginagamit mo, or babae, we're usually yung pelvis and hips muscle issues probably, so you need to stretch it out. So pag nag-yoga, nagpa-pop yung mga it feels really good. It feels really good. So that was the purpose of that. I was actually trying to stretch and bumalik. You know, when I was stretching that, I was doing that. I stretched a little bit more. And I felt much better. Much better.
Okay.
For 1 week, sobrang stiff ng katawan ko.
That's good. Is this at the same place mo na parang merong, is this from your place?
Yeah, that's
so ang dami nilang marami pala kayong mga, ano ba tawag doon, yung mga treadmills?
Dalawa lang po.
Dalawa ba yan? Pati direct pakita mo, ang dami mukhang maraming gamit sa lugar ni attorney
Yeah, may elliptical kami. Elliptical, that's the elliptical.
Elliptical, yung parang gumaganong, yung parang, that's stepper na,
Stepping, stepping machine.
Stepping,
We have two treadmill. May rowing machine kami, and may mga weights. So, quite nice. May rowing machine.
Bongga yung place niya because you have your rowing.
Nakakatawa siguro kasi that was quite early.
Ano to yung mga, ano ba tag dito? Yung, ano ba yung pangalan ng binubuhat na, I forgot. Kettle, yes. Kettlebells.
Isa dyan, ako nag-donate dyan.
Really, right. Why did you have to donate, attorney? Bakit magdo-donate ka pa?
Kasi yung andun, yung masyadong mabigat, so.
Hindi ka ba pwede mag-request? Can you buy or provide us with something lighter?
Ka na lang. Parang ako, para sa atin na lang lahat.
Okay. But at least you have 2 treadmills. You have one parang stepper. Diba?
Yeah.
Yung
rowing
machine. Good.
And then meron yung gano'n na parang, shoulder machine na parang may weights din. I don't know. I don't use it. I don't know how to use it on my own. Hindi makikita dyan. So may ganun din.
Ako na muna shot next time pagkabalik mo from when you do your session again.
Try ko.
Ako naman lang para may idea ko ano ba 'yon para sa shoulders pa? Shoulders or chest?
Shoulders, chest, abs. I think it's a multi. Multi Medyo komplikado siya.
Alam mo, actually, let me just tell you a little so doon sa where we stayed sa Best Western sa Greece, sa Athens, meron silang multi. So I had to try it. Yeah. Alam mo, mas napilayan pa ako kaysa nakatulong sa akin. Ang hirap i-figure out kasi ang ang hirap i-figure out.
You have to put it, hindi mo, I don't know. Gusto ko yung simple lang, so I rarely use those machines.
Take a shot of it. Pagka next time nag-session ka, but take just shot lang, just to give me an idea of how, kung ano yung setup nyo, no? So, but that's good, ha? Meron kayong, so wala kayo, but have you ever done burpees?
I've done burpees. I have done burpees before.
Nagba-burpees ka ba? Okay. Yung granddaughter ko, ang galing mag-burpee Nag-burpee siya, si Freya. So sabi niya, what are your exercises?
Ang hirap talaga.
Ang nila dyan, ang audition ba, testing nila sa US Army yata in 20 seconds you have to do 20 burpees, no?
Yes,
for somebody who's not really parang fit, siguro mga 8 or less in 20 seconds.
I don't know if I told you, I trained for the British Army 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
Na yung revelation attorney Talaga, what do you mean train? When you say train, what do you mean by train? Like physical fitness?
I was a British Army lawyer candidate, so I applied. I got through the first round of interviews. So you have to go through the same standard fitness test, depende sa, so you have to do press-ups, you have to do no, may isa pa eh. I forgot. Sit-ups, press-ups, there's something else. It's not burpee, we call it the beep test. So you have to do a certain beep test, which is the equivalent of, explosiveness.
Oh, okay.
So I trained for 60 days. I trained for 60 days with a physical trainer, and I managed to hit the targets just about after 60 days. Pero nakita yung asthma ko sa medical records. So I wasn't able to proceed after. But I had the interview at Andover. It was very good. I really enjoyed it.
So maski lawyer ka supposedly lang, ibig sabihin, you still have to undergo that physical fitness, para physical test, no? Ganon?
Yes, and I will quote the Lieutenant Colonel. He said, "You will be a soldier first and a lawyer second." So that's the expectation. Because once you get in, you'll be a captain straight away. You'll be commissioned officer. You'll go to Sandhurst first for 9 weeks.
Uy, Sandhurst, okay.
Sandhurst Academy. And we really liked it. They actually called me back a few months later, and they said, "We're quite happy to make an allowance for you." I should probably. They were, I posted about this, so this is public. So they said there was a change in the policy, after a few months, and they said they're quite happy to make some allowance, provided they need some medical evidence about my asthma. And I was supposed to return the year after for the recruitment, and not go through the same, just pick up where I left off. So carry on, because I passed the first screening and the first interview. But then nasa Deo Valente na ako nun eh. So,
all right. It's Deo Valente's gain, no? Pero to let us know that you have to undergo some physical test pa pala, no? Because ang alam ko sa burpees, yan ang ginagawa sa mga army. Tsaka sa army ata, minsan, tinitrain sila, naka-knapsack ka ba? Na may bigat, tapos tatakbo ka?
There's a selection board I was nearly there. I was 2 weeks away from what we call a 5-day selection board. So dun yung physical examination. And they can make you do those, the press-ups, the sit-ups, and the beep test at any point in time. So yung physical trainer ko at that time had an idea, because my family member siya na army. So talaga I was training 6 days a week. At least
push-ups, lahat? Mga press-ups mo? Ganun, push-ups?
Complete circuit training. I had beeps, I had burpees, I had sledge. So I had cardio training. So talagang pinush yung cardio limit ko to really get used to not breathing for the whole time. So it was very, very cool. It was, alam mo, talagang dun ko na, Mr. Laragan, if you really want something, and I really wanted it, I wanted that lifestyle. I wanted yung, syempre may kudos din yon. And at that time, the highest ranking lawyer, the head of the Army Legal Services, was at that time is a woman. So she's the highest ever
inspiration mo.
Major General, very, very good lawyer, very good. Sobrang sila, quite progressive actually. It's a very good area. If you're coming from my background, high street firm, civil litigation, family litigation, you do probably 12 years, good career pension, and then when you get out, you could specialize in military law, and that's also a very good niche to do. So they'll train you, they'll educate you. You'll go to Sandhurst, you'll be a commissioned captain of the British Army. It was very, very attractive to me at the time. But I was at the cusp. Last year na talaga. Last year ng cutoff ng age limit. But yeah, I was interviewed at Andover by 2 military men. Very. I did feel like a good fit. This was before Deo Valente.
Teka muna, these yung mga tests mo were done in London or were you done in Surrey?
Yung test ko, the tests were just, yung test ko sa sarili ko when I was practicing was done obviously where I was practicing. The interview happened in Andover.
Andover,
So,
okay.
yeah, so headquarters ng British Army. I was supposed to come in for the final test, the final selection board, but then that was stopped because may issue sila at that time with my asthma, with some asthma record on my, and sobrang strict sila, both Navy, Army, I think all branches of the military, they're very strict about that. But I remember at the time, everything that I read, everything that I studied was everything that I was preparing for, where it was about the Army. It could have turned out very differently for me.
Para sliding doors. Para sliding doors
very-
in movie, di ba? If you,
Yeah,
what if you made it, what if you, di ba? So you live different lives, no?
Yeah,
Pero,
so it
amazing,
was interesting. It was very interesting.
I'm familiar with Sandhurst kasi when I first arrived in the UK, I lived in Frimley, Surrey. So ang Sandhurst malapit lang eh. Malapit lang doon sa Camberley and then Sandhurst tapos
Is that
so
Pillsbury? Was that
Ha?
Pillsbury? Pillsbury, hindi po Pillsbury, no? Hindi po yung Pillsbury. Iba yon.
Pillsbury, I think it might be the place pero kasi yung area na yun, okay. Yung meron silang isang lugar doon yung doon nakatira yung barracks yung I
Yeah,
forgot.
barracks, yeah.
I forgot that place now. They converted it now to mga houses, mga housing projects. But I was there. We were there for about 3 to 4 years in that
Yeah.
area. And Frimley Park Hospital is a hospital parang in partnership with the Ministry of Defense because
Yeah.
yung mga doctors nila, mga surgeons nila, they call them minsan mga major ganyan dahil mga doctors, mga nurses, yun may mga rango sila pag may laban sa Kosovo o saan, bisa kinukuha yung doktor doon, no? At the same time, pag nagkasakit or may whatever, doon ang ospital ng mga military dahil malapit sa I forgot the name of the place now. Pero we were there for about 4 or 5 years, no? So sa lugar na yan. Pero yung tag dito, I forget to say, ano ba to? Yung Sandhurst, no? Malapit lang sa amin yun. And it's sayang, no? Sayang, I mean, would have been, di ba?
It
Would have been-
was. Talagang heartbroken ako because I really set my mind to it, and it was such a fantastic interview. When I did the interview, I came out thinking, I really want this. I really want this job. I want this lifestyle. Because you can,
yun.
you get to go on adventures, and you get to serve a purpose, get a higher cause. And then madaming options afterwards, and you get to be called the captain as well. Obviously, there's a certain kudos to that. And ang dami sa kanila, they carry on, as you said, every 6 years kasi yung promotion yan eh. So captain, you go to major, and then so on and so forth. So it's a very different life. I had a tiny glimpse of it. Very, very different life. But minsan inisip ko pa rin, what if? I remember that was probably my most physically healthy period of my
Wow.
life. 60 days. I really, alam mo yung akala mo hindi mo kaya, kasi talagang pinush ako. Talagang, may personal trainer ako na ang talagang job niya lang is to make me army fit. That's it. At the end of that, you will pass the test. And it means really pushing. Sabi niya, sige na, you have to do this, you have to do this. I think may muscle pain ako throughout the 60 days because it's non-stop.
60 days ka nag-training, ganun?
60 days of training from February up until March. It was, and I transformed. Pagdating naman, shoulder tataka yung mga taga, ano ginagawa nito? Bakit? At sipag-sipag yung ata.
Karoon ka ng development? Nagkaroon ka ng muscles?
I think yung shoulder ko got, and then I was able to do press-ups. I never thought I could do press-ups. I was able to do press-ups. The beat test, the burpee test. And you discovered you really are quite stronger than you ever think you are. It was very empowering. If I can take away something from that, it was very empowering. I thought I really didn't I never thought I could do it. I thought, alam mo, nerd lang ako, geek lang ako, but I wanted it, so
Galing. Well, at least yung physical, no? Yung physical, you had to undergo that and you learned a lot by way of, di ba, yung physical. So, well, yung kaklase ko, yun, naalala ko nung sinasabi ko yung kanina sa Sanders na malapit kami nun dahil nasa Frimley Park kami, sa Frimley Hospital, Frimley area, Frimley, sorry. May kaklase ako, he was not that physical or athletic or whatever, no? So, nung high school kami. But he finished sa army na as a major. Pero nurse yata, parang nurse siya, no? Si Henry Rosca. Yung mom niya kasi is Americana. So they were able right after college sa Pilipinas, they were able to go to the Philippines dahil kumbaga yung kanilang petition okay na. Pumasok siguro nag-nurse siguro doon tapos alam mo ba when I saw him, naka six-pack siya.
Wow.
Naka six-pack siya talaga na yung tiyan niya talagang six-pack na nagulat ako. Tapos, yun nga, kasi nga, siguro doon, they have to do some training. They have to do, di ba, siguro pag morning every day nag-exercise sila. Ang
And they
ganda
exercise
ng
check,
katawan niya.
fitness check every year, Mr. Laragan. So no matter how old you are, may fitness check every year. You have to pass the fitness check every year. So you have to maintain being fit every year.
Okay, imagine mo my age, and the guy, my classmate, si Henry, naka six-pack.
That's
imagine
amazing.
mo yun. Amazing.
Nakakatawa yung disiplina nila. If there's one thing that I really find very, it's quite impressive and very commendable. Yung disiplina, yung structure, yung purpose nila, that's very commendable. Mataas talaga respeto ko sa military at coming from someone that really wanted to be a part of it and still looks back with may konting nostalgia pa rin. I wish sometimes I'm very grateful for where I am at the moment.
Yeah. Well, of course, maganda na nagawa mo ngayon, no? Kaya lang we're trying to imagine paano kaya kung, 'di ba? Nandoon ka sa military at saka imagine mo 'yon ang highest na 'di ba? Yung sa military lawyer ba yan? Babae? Tama ba?
She's the one. She broke the record. She's the first ever woman in the British history to reach Major General status. She's retired now.
Major General?
Wow. Major General, yeah.
Ano ba Major General? 3 stars or 4 stars?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Major General. Di ba malalaman natin yan? Check natin yan.
She's amazing, very down to earth, very humble, and quite a good story. Nakita ko yung interview niya. I was moved. I wanted to be a part of that. So, yung ating topic ngayon and his personal tips to hiring lawyers, and that's probably part of it. Lawyer doesn't just mean private lawyer. Sometimes you can be a military lawyer. So yan ang ating little spoiler. Yes.
Topic natin for you. Okay. All right. Okay, attorney, magana muna tayo. We have to acknowledge those people who have greeted us. Uy, direct, hindi mo nagawan yung ating ang tawag dito. OBB dyan, no? For that, no? A bumper or something. Meron ka ba? Meron ba tayo? Wala yata siguro. Okay. Ready mo na yan next week, ha? Next time, ready mo na yan para medyo ano. Okay, attorney, sino sa palagay mo, katuwaan lang, sino ang unang bumati sa atin, nag-message sa palagay mo? Yeah.
Para patas, ibigin ko naman ngayon. Si Marian Galicia Paner naman. I've got a feeling. Dahil kasi last week hat-trick ako eh. Pero hat-trick ka, diba? 3-0, no? Ang galing. Oo, tama. Okay. Last week ba sino unang hinulaan mo last week? Oliver last week.
Si Oliver. Okay, si Oliver. So sige, let's see kung ano. Yan, tingnan natin.
Marian Galicia Paner.
Oliver. Uy.
I should have stayed, no? I should have stayed on my last.
Oh, you should have stayed with Oliver. Pero okay lang. At least alam naman ni Oliver na last week siya, pinili mo. Siyempre, hindi naman natin masasabi na siya uli, no? Pero siya nga pa rin. Okay, sige, go ahead. Uy, ano ito? Ano to? Saan to? Sa Greece to.
Eto na. Nasa
Oo,
Greece mode
oo.
na tayo. Greece mode.
Greece yan, pagbati niya sa atin. Yeah, tinuro, Kalispera, I think it's good afternoon yata or good evening. Kalimera, good morning.
Kalimera, good morning, Kalimera. Parakulu is please. Parakulu, tama ba?
Wow, okay. Ah,
Apat lang
okay.
naman ang alam ko.
Ang Kalispera actually, attorney, ang Kalispera kasi is a combination of two words. Kali tsaka espera. And so, ginawang Kalispera. Kasi Kalimera is good morning yata. So,
Kalispera, good evening or good afternoon.
good evening. Good
tama.
afternoon. Yeah, parang ganyan.
Kalimera, Parakalu is please, and Efkaristo. May apat akong words na baon.
Wow.
And may isa from a local,
you-
Siga is slowly daw, dahan-dahan. Chill.
Sige. Ano yung thank you? Hindi ko nakuha yung thank you eh. Ano may thank you? Ano thank you sa...
Efkaristo.
Yeah. F. Caristo. Yan. Tinuturo sa amin. Tinuturo sa F. Caristo.
Calimera, pwede na yan. I'll survive tomorrow.
Ay, pag nakita mo yun, di ba, the word Exodus, narinig mo naman Exodus, the word Exodus, di ba? Exodus, yun ang exit nila, Exodus. So, pag nakita, kaya lang, yung sulat nila, hindi mo maintindihan, parang basa mo, SOS eh. Parang gano'n, no?
Yun ang
SOS.
sinasabi ng lahat na napunta doon, na lahat naman naging English, pero mahirap lang basahin yung mga nakalagay kasi iba yung alphabet talaga nila, no? Iba yung
Yung letter T nga nila letter D. Yung letter G nila, letter R. Kunyari, SYN, syntagma. Dapat nabasa natin, syntagma. Ang basa nila, Sindarma. Dharma. Asan letter D dyan? Asan letter D? Asan letter R? Pero nakasulat, letter T-A-G, tag. Sintag.
Alam mo Sindarma pala.
Sindarma. Ang una yata sa first syllable, Sindarma. Hindi Sindarma, hindi ganun. Kundi Sindarma. Nasa una eh. Pero maganda ron ha. Mag-enjoy ka talaga. Go, pag nando ka sa monasteriki ba yun? Yung pinaka-center yun. Either you can go up do sa yung pinuntahan namin na MG rooftop or anywhere, no? May mga rooftop kasi doon. And you have a good view. You're drinking wine and everything. Ganda ng view doon kasi nandun yung sa likod mo yung pangalan niya? Acropolis. Tama. Ganda. It's nice. I really envy you. I'd like to go back. We really enjoyed it. Talagang yung with that smile na natutuwa ako. Parang sabi ko, I'd like to go back. Ang dami kong tinapuntahan. Kamukha na sinasabi natin, yung Naflio, hindi ko pa napuntahan. Yung something na parang monasteryo, nasa tuktok ng bundok.
Hindi ko na, the monastery. Everyone
monastery. So, alala ba na? Tapos, di ba, ano ba magaganda pa na? Mykonos, Santorini, a lot of places to go sa Greece, no? So, yeah, we'll go back in future.
Basahin muna natin to.
Sige, go ahead.
You, Attorney Donald, Kuya Sonny, Direk Pao, and to the rest of our virtual social bubble. Attorney Donna, could almost see you enjoying your souvlaki and
souvlaki.
Yeah, absolutely. Yun ang isang ni-research ko, pagkain. So, I think souvlaki is the parang kebabi.
Parang kebab, barbecue o gano'n. Nasa ano.
Pinapopita, I think, is their spinach pastry, puff pastry. Tama ba ako, Oliver? That's the spinach popita, which is the...
Ay, hindi ko alam yan. Hindi ko masyadong
and ouzo is obviously the Greek drink, and that's lovely. That is, I've got a list of food to eat.
Pag nagpunta ka ng monasteriki, meron dalawang parang main, doon sa mismo square, magkatabi silang parang nakalabas na restaurant doon, no? Pilipina isa-isa, si Maylene yata, Maylene.
Hanapin ko doon.
Maylene, Ang pangalan niya na una, Georgia. Ano pangalan mo tunay? Maylene. Sabi ko, mag-friends yata sa Facebook. Maylene yata. Ibigay ko yung pangalan sa'yo pag ginano. So, mabuhay yung ating mga kababayan dyan sa Greece. Marami tayong Nako, sarap yan. Sublaki. Tapos, salad kami ng salad doon eh. Mahilig sila sa mga superfoods. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Kaya lang, naisahan kami riyan. Yung tag dito. Mukhang magulang parang hindi masyadong may pinag-aralan yung nagtindera yung avocado binenta sa amin ng 12 for 4 pieces with one, 12 euros. Oh, yes.
Wala.
Oo, punta ka sa grocery, mura lang eh. Pero parang ba, nakaisa lang kasi. Gabing-gabi kasi yun. We were looking, kasi we love avocados eh. But anyway, sige, tuloy natin yung mga pagbati nila. No? Sino yung pangalawa?
Marian Galicia Paner, magparamdam ka na.
Marian Galicia Paner, tingnan natin direct. Sige nga. Ayan. Si Marian. Okay, very good.
Hello
ano
po,
sabi niya?
Sonny and Attorney Donna. At sa lahat, Happy Tuesday po.
Happy Tuesday.
God bless us po. Happy Tuesday, Marian Galicia Paner.
Okay.
Yan.
Okay, pangatlo. Sige, pangatlo lang. Hanggang sa tatlo tayo kasi
Edgar
naka-hat-trick ka eh. Sino?
Edgar Duay. Kasi nakita ko si Edgar Duay. I just have a gut feeling. Edgar Duay. Feeling ko
Edgar Duay, tignan natin. Tinawagan ko si Edgar Duay, kanina. Busy siguro. YouTube to. Wow, YouTube. Emmeline Rafael. Hindi siya maganda ang pakaramdam niya.
And welcome back. Andito na siya sa London.
Andito na yan. Masaya ka na ba sa London? O gusto mo pa, nalulungkot ka? Gusto mo pa rin makabalik doon sa mga anak mo sa Dubai? Abu Dhabi pala, Abu Dhabi. Sana
okay na. Sana. The weather's getting better. So, hopefully, everything is okay.
Yes. Okay. Sino mga sige, sunod na natin pagbate. Sino mga pagbate? Yes, Edgar Duay.
Ayun, naku, I missed it by one. It's okay. Magandang gabi. Happy 22.
Uy.
20. Yung nga, no?
Tama nga, no? 22 to 22nd. Oo nga, no? Sa inyong lahat. Kahapon, 21st was the death anniversary ng father ko. So, ayan, naalala ko gabi na nung patulog na ako. Uy, sindi ako ng kandila. So, 22 February 2022. Ang ganda ng number, no? Ayan.
Hi, Attorney DQ, legendary SL, and awesome direct PPRP. Baka sino? Hello, Patricia Reyes Perez. Yan. Alam ko full name ni Direk, ewan ko bakit. Sa aking mga pinagpipitagang ka SRB, hello sa inyong lahat. Dapat mag-jargon buster sa
Anong SRB? Ano ibig sabihin ng SRB? Ano
ba SRB? Oo nga, Edgar.
Oo nga, no? Hindi mo alam, no? Hindi mo rin alam kung ano SRB, no?
Social remote bubble.
Social remote bubble. Okay. Okay. Galing, ha? Jargon tayo, mga jargon buster tayo.
Jargon buster ni Edgar Duay.
Sino to?
Sino yan? Good evening. I think that's yung ko dating hello! Si Bing Soreta, hello!
Nasa YouTube siya. Nga pala, you can watch us on both YouTube and Facebook, no? Ayan. Alright, so mabuhay, Bia Soreta. Okay. Mabuhay ka, mabuhay.
Rosemary Guban, friend.
Rosemary Guban, hello. Yes, Sir Sani. Good evening.
Hello, Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna. Good evening po sa lahat. Happy Tuesday. Gusto ko na Happy Tuesday talaga.
Happy Tuesday, Rosemary. Happy Tuesday sa'yo, no? Si Darmin. Darmin, oo.
Then yon says, hello, Kuya Sonny LARAGAN, beautiful Attorney Donna.
Beautiful.
Beautiful Darmin, hello back to you.
Beautiful Darmin. Okay, beautiful ka rin, no?
Mary Rose Ronda says, good evening po, Sir Sonny and Attorney Donna. Happy Tuesday to all. Stay safe po and God bless.
Very good. Mabuhay, ha? Mary Rose Ronda, no? God bless ka rin.
Panganay Bunso. Okay to. Good evening, Attorney Donna and Mr. Sonny. Can I ask po, anong hair color gamit niyo? Thanks.
Sino? Panganay Bunso. Ako ba tinatanong? Ikaw, hindi ka naman naka...
Wala akong hair color, Mr.
Wala ka hair color. Okay. Hindi ko alam parang napagtripan ko lang, merong walang, ano ba yun, walang ammonia, no ammonia, ano ba pangalan nun? I forgot kailangan ko yata mag-top up na no? So,
maganda, I think it's a compliment. Maganda kasi yung color ng buhok mo, Mr. LARAGAN.
Hindi, pero brown parang brown Hindi ko alam kung anong brown to Ano bang kulay yan?
Brown yan. Sonny LARAGAN brown.
Brown, siyempre, may buhok naman ako. Paglaruan na natin, di ba? Parang accessory ko na rin yan.
You're looking very
nahihiya nga ako sa attorney. Baka makita meron akong necklace dito. Kasi sabi mo, forma nun maglalagay pa ako ng rito. Saka na muna next time na.
Next time.
Next time na. Ayan, attorney, sino yan?
Gadia. Hi po, Attorney from Windermere, UK. Amazing Lake District. I love the Lake
Windermere.
District.
Oh, I love the place. Pero hindi ko alam kung pinuntahan ko yan. Kasi iniikot ko yan eh. Hindi, iniikot ko kasi yan eh. May isang part lang na nasa taas na hindi ko nadaanan eh. Sayang.
Nako, Joy, alam mo dati, I used to go there almost every year. So I usually stay sa Hawks Head. I used to do volunteering sa sa Lake District, Joy. So sorry,
watching sa ating Pinoy Radio UK page, no? Oo.
Yes,
Oh, we love it.
Hi.
Every year, attorney, pumupunta ka sa Lake District?
Opo, I think since about 2017, apart from nung nagka-pandemic. So it stopped nung nagka-pandemic. But for a few years, I was there every year. I tried to do at least 3-4 days to 1 week na volunteering with conservation. So nagtanim ako ng puno dyan.
Okay.
Nag-ayos ako ng mga mountain path. It's very close to my heart. Nakakatawa dyan. So Windermere, I've been there. I've been Hogshead, Coniston, I think Old Man of Coniston. Naglinis din ako sa Old Man of Coniston ng mga drain. So it's good. It's
Galing. Good. Ako, I'd love to go back. I'd love to. We have a friend actually. Kaya lang, ang layo kasi when we stayed there, medyo malayo how many miles away. But next time, kasi masyadong expensive in the middle eh. Very expensive.
Malaki yung Lake District. Malaki. It's a huge area.
Yes. Oh, very huge. But now, syempre, we've been there last time. At least alam na namin where we could probably stay, no? Or we could also do ano ba tawag dito? Yung mga nagkakaravan. Pero kotse lang. Dala ka ng tulog, no? Magalap ka lang ng gilid kung saan ka lang, no?
If you want, may kaibigan ako, may kaibigan ako may doon, holiday to let, na one of my old friends, and we'll have a chat
Closer
later.
Closer ba sila? Kasi meron kami friend ni Sol na classmate niya no high school. Kaso nandun sa I forgot the place eh. But we had to travel kinda long siguro mga 10-12 miles every day, you know? Oh.
Hawkshead po. She's in Hawkshead, which is quite near to Ambleside.
Good. Sige. Ambleside. Diyan ang mga sakay.
Ambleside, Maine. Yeah, that's
Sumakay ka ba kaya? Sumakay ka na ba sa parang yung ferry? Yung parang umiikot-ikot na doon, bangka?
Yung Macau po.
Galing. I love the Lake District talaga, attorney, no? I really love it. Joy, mabuhay ka sa Lake District. Joy, mabuhay ha. Nanonood siya sa Pinoy Radio UK page natin. Mabuhay ka, Joy ha.
Buhay kayo, Joy. Marami tayong kababayan dyan sa Lake District. So,
ng mga Pilipino, no? Oo, yata. Oo. Okay. Si Rachel Catuisa Bautista. Okay, pakibate.
Hello, Sir Sonny, nagwapo, and attorney, and sa attorney maganda, attorney Dana. Happy 22.
Yes, happy. Thanks, Rachel Catuisa, no? Bautista. Mabuhay ka, no?
Mabuhay. Buhay. Chismosang
kapitbahay. Watching from Switzerland. Oy, Teresita, mabuhay ka ha. Evening sa dito po sa Switzerland. Last Friday, wala nang mask.
Amazing.
Wow.
Alam mo dito sa amin, Teresita, sa lahat ng mga nanonood, next week, wala na po kaming self-isolation. From this week, from this week, isn't it? Wala
even
na
mask, kailan matagal na wala ng mask? Wala na yata masyado.
Last month pa.
Wala na tayong mask, no? So, kaya lang, siyempre, minsan nagmamask kami pagka pupunta kami sa supermarket, no? Ingat lang. Oy, si Ma'am Cora.
Tita Cora! Oy. Cora, absolutely gorgeous as ever. Hello to all.
Ay, grabe yan. Maganda talaga. Ayan, thank you. Magandang gabi, no? Teka muna. Ayan. Meron. Watching lang. Ina-acknowledge niya. Sabi niya, Nida Monsalud. Watching. Taga saan ka, Nida?
Present. Kumbaga, parang ganon. Present.
Mabuhay kayo. Mabuhay. Ayan. Tell us, Nida, kung nasaan ka. Ito, nasa Northern Ireland to, sa Belfast. I'd love to go to Belfast again kasi at least gusto ko makapunta ng Dublin, no? So, at saka makita ni sila Rudy, no?
Exactly. Finally.
Pupunta kami riyan.
Ayan.
Sige, attorney, pakibasa.
Masayang Tuesday Total Beauty Package, Attorney Dana. Always good looking guys, Sir Sonny and Sir Edgar. Lovely direct Paula and all viewers. Enjoy the show. This is from Team Lebrojo.
Mabuhay, Mabuhay, Rudy, si G at saka si, sino yan? Ang daughter nga? G, yung wife niya, no?
Mia.
Si Mia, yung ating
very
singer,
talented,
yung ating
Mia.
recording, very talented. Uy, si DJ Red
DJ
D,
Red,
mabuhay ka.
Watching from
Mabuhay.
Andun pa rin sila sa Pinoy Radio UK.
Good evening. Ang galing naman ni Direk, no? Natitrace nila, no? Good evening. Yan. Mabuhay ka, DJ Red D, no? Ano, sa mga program mo ngayon? At least mapakinggan ka ng ating mga viewers, no? Yan. Yan. So, okay. Sino susunod natin?
Teresita Ortman says, last December po, 1 week kami ng anak ko nagbakasyon sa Sweden. Hindi sila mahigpit at walang mosque. Yeah, yes,
okay.
Si
Hopefully.
Virginia, taga doon, Virginia Elona, no? She's from Sweden, isn't it?
Pero ikaw, attorney, I don't know kung nagluwag na sa Greece, pero nung ang higpit nung sa Acropolis, parang maiirita ka dahil bino mo nasa open air na kayo, nire-remind sa'yo na mag-mask kayo. Nagma-mask. So,
magpipicture doon, di ba? Paano ka magsiselfie?
Paano ka magsiselfie? Tinatanggal ko. Wala akong pakialam. Paglapitan mo ako, okay lang. At least nagawa ko na, napicturean ko na. Doon maigpit sila. Pero samantalang, pag kumain ka sa restaurant, walang mask.
Wala naman.
Tapos siksikan kayo sa loob, di ba? Tapos ito yung open air. Di ba? Yung logic, parang ang layo ng logic na open air to, nagpipicture ka, kailangan mag-mask ka. Pero doon ka sa restaurant, kumain ka, tabi-tabi kayo, siksikan kayo ron. Di ba? Dapat yun ang mas nakakahawa. No? But anyway, ganun talaga. Okay.
Do I enjoy and have a happy trip?
Happy trip. Tama. We wish you a happy trip, attorney. Sana enjoy ka. Nainggit nga kami kung pwede nga kami sumama sa'yo dahil talagang we couldn't have enough. Parang ganyan. We couldn't have enough nung no? Talagang ang maganda sa Athens. We enjoyed it. It's a nice city, no? Historic and it's nice. The food, so blacky, maski saan, no? Yun ang pwede namin kainin, eh. Salads. So, no? Greek salad, masarap na Greek salad, no? We tried the Greek salad, no? Maganda. At saka mahilig sila sa mga superfoods, eh. So, that's great. And shopping sa Ermou Street, ERMOU Street. Pag wala doon sa Sindarma, pababa na yon. Papunta mo na sa Tiriki. That one whole street na yon, tuloy-tuloy na yon. I'm sure ikaw, sanay ka sa lakaran, no? Walang problema. Diba?
That's okay, yeah. I'm prepared po.
Prepared yan. Okay, we're gonna have a short break. Pagbalik natin, attorney, so we're gonna be discussing itong, para kung ikaw, you served as an inspiration, no? You were also inspired taking a blow yata, no? When you saw si yung ating guest, yung one of your staff na when she saw somebody in school yata, and then yun ang there was parang career week nila, and she was inspired, di ba? So, yun. Okay, so ganito rin. Baka who knows?
It's personal tips to mga tao. Iba yung tips nila. Ito ay personal sa akin, and it's, I'm not saying I know everything, but ito yung sa akin na I found helpful looking back, na kung ikaw may anak na gustong mag-abukas siya, Alex, anak ni Edgar Duay, or solicitors there, or junior lawyers, or even aspiring lawyers, medyo kahit second career. I've had classmates na second career, mature students sila, they've already had one career and they want to change into law. These are hopefully practical tips. Looking back sa naging career ko, I've just shared earlier na muntika na akong mag-left flank papunta sa military law. And that was recent. That was about 3 years ago, and I was still a junior lawyer then. And that could have ended up very differently, a very different lifestyle for me. But what yung isa sa takeaway doon is there are a lot. It's a very interesting industry, and there's a lot of doors, a lot of options available. And I wish I'd known when I was younger as well na may mga ganito, so I could have probably, mas na consider ko all options. No regrets about where I am kung saan ako nag-end up today, but kung ano yung na-learn natin from that experience, it's probably be good to pass it forward. So hopefully, kung sino man makaka-pick up nito one day in your life, when you're older, you're gonna pass it to someone younger, so the knowledge doesn't stop. That's the idea of it. So pass it forward. Pass the knowledge forward.
inspiration to, because when you got in, hindi mo naman inisip na magkukuha ka ng law, di ba? You started, you were doing some chef things yata, tama ba?
I was doing chefing. I was a business graduate. I had no idea that I was alone. I didn't mag-isa lang ako na nag-immigrate dito. I didn't have my family. I was young. And I didn't really realize, kumbaga, let's take it year by year. You know, I didn't have much expectation of what's to come. And I tried. A lot of people helped me. A lot of people added value sa career ko. A lot of them taught me, you know, how to really big impact in terms of, you know, molding me as a lawyer, molding me as a young adult, and that in itself, siguro ito, it's a lot, it's a gratefulness for them. Yung makikita nyo na yung practical helpful tips na to is because there were kind people along the way. There were helpful people along the way who also assisted dun sa pag-build ng career na to, which didn't, and we can all agree, it's and any career, any profession, talagang, you know, Mr. Ragan used to tell us about broadcasting. You may talagang kailangang kayod muna sa unang mga taon, and that was it. I was a young immigrant many years ago.
Maswerte ka. You met the right people. These people have helped you every step of the way, no? Nakatulong sa'yo sa iyong pagiging abogada. At ngayon, you are now serving as an inspiration not only to me but to a lot of our kababayans dito sa United Kingdom. So pag-usapan natin, no, yung mga helpful tips. Personal yan because ikaw yan, no? At si Lawrence, mamaya na natin, sige, acknowledge lang natin bago tayo mag-break, no? Lawrence Alcazar, mabuhay ka, ha? Mabuhay, no? From Northampton, is watching now. Si Lawrence, he used to be on the show dati sa akin, si Lawrence from the beginning, no? Sila, ano. Okay, mabuhay, we're gonna have a short break. Pagbalik ko natin, makinig ko tayo sa mga tips na ibibigay ni attorney, no? Maaring mapakinggan nyo, maisabi nyo sa inyong mga anak, malay nyo, no? May sumunod ho sa yapak ni Attorney DANNA Quinto, who's the managing partner, no, of the Day of Volente Solicitors. So wag ho kayo nga alis. Kami po ni Attorney ay magbabalik saglit po lamang. Wag ho kayo nga alis.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
%100% all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile, 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka evict ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mala, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
At Attention sa mga healthcare personnel, ikaw ba ay naghahanap ng trabaho sa healthcare na may magandang sahod, flexible na shift at mahusay na working conditions? Kung oo ang sagot mo, KNR Care ang bahala sa iyo. Kami ay kasulukuyang naghahanap ng mga general nurses, specialist nurses, healthcare assistants, support workers at mga carers. Makipag-ugnayan sa amin ngayon para sa agarang pagsisimula, alamin ang iba't ibang opportunities sa KNR Care dito sa Greater London area. Tumawag sa 0208-154-3009 o mag-email sa info@krcare.co.uk. KNR Care, okay to, kabayan!
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay na minsan kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, balik ko tayo sa ating palatuntunang Legal Advice Corner, no? At siyempre ako po si Sonny Laragan. For those who tuned in just now at medyo na-late ho kayo, siyempre kasama natin yung ating star of the show, no? Siya ho ang talagang may kaalaman legal dito sa United Kingdom. Walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA QUINTO. Attorney, good evening once again.
Good evening! Welcome back sa ating SRB, Social Remote Bubble.
SRB, bago yan.
Happy Tuesday, everyone! We're back here talking about everything under the sun, but we go back as well to a sort of legal topic today. Slightly different kasi puro tayo jargon buster, puro tayo practical legal problem solving, but today it's more about career tips, personal career tips for aspiring lawyers, junior lawyers, law students, or even anyone who's looking at law, maybe as a second career. Mature students there who may do this as a second degree. So that's where we're at the moment. Kasi kanina, nostalgia kami we were walking down the memory lane kami ni Mr. Laragan. It's a bit nostalgic. Looking at career kumbaga, what ifs. There were instances or may mga you call it milestones, no, you call it crossroads, that's the proper word, crossroads na tinitingnan ka sa buhay mo, sasabihin mo, oh, what if I took that turn? But that was actually still in line with law. I was if you just hopped in now, we were talking about my almost military law military law career, almost lang. But now we're going to talk about helpful tips for aspiring lawyers. I've been in the industry probably for 11 years now, nearly 11 years. But once upon a time, I was a young immigrant na nangangarap lang maging abogado. You know, I came here 19 years old ako. I came here to do a different degree yung unang natapusan ko. And I was supposed to only be here for a few years. I got what they call the postgraduate visa, postgraduate work visa a long time ago. So I can do work, I can do whatever I can for 2 years. So I tried chefing for a while, or being a cook, hindi nga chef, cook or kitchen assistant, and I tried a lot of other things. I was quite interested in the restaurant industry, but for some reason I made a left flank, and I was working as well as studying law for a little bit. The visa allowed it at that time, but still as a lot of parents probably know, the mga aspiring law students or law graduates there, or young lawyers, it's quite a hard industry to enter. So kumbaga sa akin nun year by year lang. Let's take it year by year. Let's take it if I can get what they call a training contract, which is what you need in order to qualify. Then, I know ngayon meron na silang super exam or SQE, but then you really have to get a training contract. I was an immigrant. I needed a visa. So there were a lot of hurdles. Long story short, there were kind souls who helped my career, who gave me a chance. For that, I'm very grateful. Marami silang tinuro sa akin, and this is one way of giving back to the wider community, is to pass those knowledge forward, to pass those tips forward, so that merong mga younger people who can benefit from it. Para naman mabigay ko, pass on forward ko yung mga binahagi din sa akin, yung mga tinuro sa akin at yung mga shinare sa akin. So these are personal tips. You ask another lawyer, they might have another set of tips, but these are from my own personal journey for the last about 11 years. So if you have a law student, or if you have a child there, or a friend, or even if you as a second career, pwede yun. This is ultimately a second, hindi naman second career, but almost a second career for me. Hindi naman ito ang una kong pinangarap. It is still possible. So, Alex, Edgar Duay, hopefully you're listening. So, without further ado, let's start with number 1. Law school, ang unang tinatanong ng mga younger people sa akin, how is law school different from practice, from legal practice? The answer is, it is different, but it is also similar. May similarities ka rin na makikita, like workload. I remember nung law student ako, and when I was also working, you really feel the workload. You feel there's a lot of deadlines to beat. Ang daming reading. That's not gonna change. Hindi yan mas dadami pa ang babasahin mo as you grow older into the industry. You'll probably just get quicker at reading. You'll get better at managing huge load of information. That is something that will not change, and very similar to law school. Different because here in law school, you have case studies, you have theoretical questions. In legal practice, you're dealing with real-life situations, real-life problems, real-life people with real-life consequences. Yung advice mo magkakaroon ng real-life consequences sa buhay ng taong to. So the stakes, some could say the stakes are higher, some could say it's a bit more complicated because you're also dealing with emotions. Hindi lang to nasa papel, hindi lang ito practice question sa isang exam. You're actually face-to-face with someone who may be upset about a divorce, who may be upset about a legal case, who's also got other probably complexities about their lives, whatever it is, evidential difficulties of a case. So you all have to manage that. That's the difference between the two. But may similarity, may difference pa rin. Saying that, that ties up, magsisegue yan dun sa pangalawa kong tip, find a mentor. Because, you've got that academic, you've got that practical. And when you find a mentor, don't just find one, but find as many as you can. Whether sa academia ba yan, from your school, from may friend man yung parents nyo na abogado, maybe from your workplace, your neighbor. And you will find that it doesn't stop when you qualify as a solicitor, when you qualify as a lawyer. As you go on, you can pick up mentors along the way. I still have a mentor now. There are a lot of older, more experienced lawyers that I try to really hear out kung ano yung knowledge and experience nila in this industry. So we've got one who has 50 years of experience, and that's a wealth of experience na priceless. So that's very important, because when I said, look, different yung law school, different yung legal practice, where do you learn that? You learn that from people. You learn that from surrounding yourselves with mentors of legal practice. From my experience, this is a real life experience. I found one sa kalaban ko. So I had an opposition one year. I was a young lawyer, but we got on very well. We were dealing with the case, and it ended up that we became friends, and I asked him questions about a few matters, without a breaching confidentiality or breaching conflict of interest. You will find that a lot of lawyers actually don't mind teaching. Isa yan sa mga quite I wouldn't say surprising, but an interesting fact that I learned over the years. If you ask nicely, hindi naman tayo abusado sa time, if you ask nicely and if you thank them properly, a lot of lawyers are very, very generous of their time, and you build up this relationship, this mentoring relationships over the years. It shouldn't stop up until the end. Kasi, you could learn from someone older than you could also learn from someone younger than you. So that's not choosing, wag tayo discriminate kung sino yung mentor natin, but find mentor throughout your career, anywhere, anytime, find a mentor. And then be a mentor yourself. Pass it forward. We have to keep this momentum, this energy going. So the knowledge doesn't stop there. So what they learned over the years, hopefully, kung ano yung napaso nila sa akin, I pass it on to someone else. And hopefully someone else will pass it on to someone else. So that's really it. A lot of the tactics, the strategies that we deploy, that we execute, hindi natin makikita yan sa textbook, hindi mo makikita yan sa modules mo, hindi mo makikita sa exam answer. A lot of the practice strategies, you learn from these mentors. So when you're having a lunch with them or you've been talking to them, they will tell you, alam mo, when I had this case before, this is what happened, this is quite useful in this problem solving. So here are those people, learn from everyone. Now the next tip, and it ties up with that as well, is don't be afraid to try out new areas. When I ask young lawyers or young law students, what is it that you're interested in? And when I was younger, I didn't know. I had an idea, but I didn't really know what exactly I'll be doing. I was interested in intellectual property law. I don't know why, but I was. I was interested in commercial leases then. Hindi ko rin alam bakit. I was not so interested in family law nung nag-uumpisa ako. I was interested in litigation, I know that for sure. But throughout the years, and because I ended up, first firm ko, they do a lot of my training principal, my mentor did a lot of family law and did a lot of litigation. I ended up doing a fair bit of family law. And then when I was trying to find out another area for myself, I also did personal injury and clinical negligence. So I started off with something. So when you're in law school, you have to pick electives. When you're in LPC, you have to pick again all these electives. People will ask you all the time. It's okay to have an idea kung ano yung gusto mo, but keep an open mind. And it doesn't again stop when you become a solicitor or when you qualify. Hindi lang doon nagsastop. I've developed over the years, siguro qualified na ako after 2 or 3 years. Doon ako nag-expand ng practice ko with a lot of focus then at that time on personal injury. So it's just because I ended up liking it. So for young lawyers out there, don't limit yourself, and I've heard of other lawyers, 10 years in their career, they start doing something else as well. They start developing another area of law. And that is entirely possible. In practice, you really are quite expected to do 2 or 3 areas. Yun ang usual. If you're a high street solicitor, like myself. If you're a corporate, that's also different, but as I've said, I'm talking about personal experience. So this is my personal experience. And even now, I'm still probably looking for a few areas that I can evolve or develop in. So hindi pa nagsistop dito. I'm still looking. I'm still looking at opportunities out there and how can I expand and enrich my legal practice. So it doesn't stop there. I'm 8 years qualified, almost 8 years plus 2 or 3 years of experience before that. It doesn't stop there. We're still thinking about adding another area of law. So saying that, after more, you keep an open mind, it's also good that you find your niche. Hindi naman pwede 10 areas of law you're practicing in, because you're gonna have to have some focus. You're gonna have to be able to make sure that you are always at your best, at your level best, that you're applying reasonable skill and care, that you can, because you'll be dealing with probably 20, 30, 40 cases at a time. If myself, a family litigation solicitor. So you need to be, if I'm dealing with 2 areas, I have to switch from family and litigation all throughout the day. There's no way I'm saying 10 to 11 family lang or litigation law. It doesn't work like that. I come in, I deal with whatever is required for that day, which means my mind switches to family law, to litigation law, nagpiping-pong yan all throughout the day. So you're going to have a level of focus, and it can't be too broad as well. So find your niche, whether it's a target market, a certain community, or if you want to look at a certain area of law, 2 or 3 areas of law that you want to focus in for this particular phase of your career. So we're talking here young lawyers, junior lawyers. The definition of junior lawyers, so sa aming industry, is anyone 5 years below, 5 years qualified below, or trainee solicitor. So if you're one of those, or if you're an aspiring lawyer, that's also interesting to know now. You can move and you can develop these areas even later on in your career. So that is fine, but keep a level of focus. Next, and this is quite important, because sabi ko sa inyo, tinatanong una when we started, is ano ba yung difference between law school and practice? And as I've said, parati ka pa rin magbabasa. It's not gonna change. You're gonna have to keep reading. So you have to really enjoy learning wherever you are, whenever you are in your career. So even if you're still a law student, you're how many years qualified, you'd still be learning new things. The law changes as time goes on. We've got new law, new precedents. We've got a different set of social construct as well. So what was law then in the 1970s? Just because of whatever's accepted in social construct has changed in the 1990s and 2000 to 2021. So it's all changing. It's always changing. May mga updates yung law, may mga updates yung case precedents. You'd really have to keep learning, and not just that. So, that's the complicated bit. How about ngayon na junior pa lang ako, intern pa lang ako, law student ako, I'm work experience? It's still an opportunity for learning. So when you're young, either a trainee or an intern or a law student, normally you be asked, and I have been there. Ako din naka-experience din to ng mga rite of passage na to. You've been making coffee, you be photocopying bundles and bundles, reams and reams of paperwork. Ikaw, normally binibigayan sa pinaka-junior. You be taking witness statements, you'll be doing the phone calls, you'll be doing the running around, and the question is, what can I learn from that? Ano ba to? So parang kasama ba to sa training? And the answer is yes. It's the foundation of your skill set. Kung naalala niyo dun sa, I don't know if you watch Karate Kid, kay Cobra Kai, when they do this wipe on, wipe off nila, and people think, oh, kasama ba yun sa training? In some ways, that's it. It's developing reflexes, legal reflexes. And how? When you make coffee, you become more in tune with clients' need. Kasi kailangan mo silang lapitan, tatanungin mo, do you want coffee? You know, and you'd have to communicate. And with that, you can get to gauge if a client is actually very stressed, if they're happy, if they're anxious. So that's a chance to communicate and to really have to be able to navigate stressful situations with very simple show of compassion. Sometimes all it takes is to offer someone, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a coffee? Before you start a meeting. And with that, you break the ice, you offer them water, you get a gauge of how they are. And it's very, very important. Hindi lang lo ang importante. And that's the reason why textbook is not the whole picture. You really need to understand who your client is and what is it, what's their objective, and how they are. A part of this, I'll hold, and I will let mamaya answer the later tips. A lot of this is problem solving, the issues at hand. And that means looking at the complete picture. So exactly the same when you're photocopying the bundle. When I was younger, when I started, I used to hate it, and then I learned to love it. Kasi it's almost meditative. Andun ka lang, tinitingnan mo, ano ba yung evidence. And if you're doing it for about 1 or 2 hours, you will definitely be so aware of ano yung evidence, the gauge, the whole range of evidence in that particular case. So it really gives you that attention and focus to the evidence in a case. It gives you that ability to process this lots of information, and with that, parang mosaic yan, it creates a picture. So in the end, I learned to love photocopying and bundling. Bundling is jargon. That's the bundles and bundles of documents. So we're probably dealing with 350 pages, 600, sometimes 700. At one point in my career, we were dealing with 1,500 pages in one case. And if you're a young lawyer, you're the one probably in charge of making sure all of that is in order. So you'll be reviewing that, and by the end of the case, you know the case inside and out. And that is the learning from that. You take that as your practice to learning the case inside and out. The same with taking witness statements. Pag andyan ka, that's a chance to learn cross-examining the client as well. So when you take witness statements, you get to ask them, follow-up questions. It's almost like you can even think that you're practicing asking them in court, and you're testing your own evidence, which is quite important. So you get that attention to details. That's a practice of your attention to details. Wag lang mag-take ng witness statements. Keep your eyes, keep your ears open, really hear what the client is trying to say, and then practice your judgment. Practice follow-up questions, practice cross-examinations. The same with phone calls. Again, you get in tune with the client's need. You get to talk to client a huge part of this industry is about communication, being able to communicate effectively. With running around, minsan pag ikaw yung junior lawyer, ikaw yung hanapin mo yung client, nawawala na yung witness. And when I was younger, I have to keep an eye on the client at time na for evidence, and hindi pa namin siya makita. So you're the first frontier for problem solving. And you will learn, I repeatedly say this job is about problem solving. A lot of this is being dynamic, being on the ball, being on your feet. So that's your practice. Kailangan alerto tayo, snappy tayo. What is it that I need to do to make the situation better? What is it that I need to do to solve the problem at hand? And that's really the job. The job is to make sure to get the client from point A, not so perfect situation in their lives, to point B, which is a resolution or a much better situation in their lives. Saying that, we'll go to the next tip, which is probably slightly controversial. Enjoy failing. So when we say failing, hindi naman tayo completely na pinabayaan mo yung kliyente mo. This is when situations where, you don't get the outcome that you wish, you don't get the judgment that you were rooting for. the judge, we have this saying, the judge is not with you on those submissions, which means that hindi ka sinuportahan yun, the judges are not favor of you. It does happen. This is many, a lot of these cases carry litigation risk. We will not, you may say, oh, we'll take a chance on testing it with the judges, but sometimes you don't always win. You don't always win the points, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. It doesn't turn out the way you expected. So a lot of law students, a lot of them are quite achievers already. A lot of them are very academic. They're quite used to achieving academically, and sometimes it's a different arena when you're faced with, it's not in your hands anymore. You've tried your best, but it's not in your hands anymore, and at times you won't get really the outcome that you wanted. So with that, you have to enjoy learning from the outcome that you don't want. So what we normally do, my team, if we have a situation like that, we always ask, so what can we learn from this? How can we be better next time? So turn that negative, or what you perceive to be negative, into a positive. Make it as a learning experience. It will happen. There are cases that you will feel, I wish it turned out differently. But it's not saying that pinabayaan mo yung kaso mo, wag mong pabayaan yung kaso mo, apply reasonable skill and care all the time. But even if you've done that, there are times when things won't just go your way. Learn from it. It will happen, and that's part of practice, and it will happen all throughout your career. Next this is something my big mentor, David Schreibert, thank you for everything. He was my training principal. I worked with him for 9 years, and he taught me probably most of what I know in law. And he used to tell me this. He's a very, very good lawyer, And he used to tell me this, which really humbled me, kasi sa movies, sa society, it seems like lawyer is a status position. Talagang, glamorous ba yan? Very, it's such an esteemed position. And this is a humbling thought from him. And this is to remind me, when I was younger, that the focus is really the client. And the focus is helping the client. And he would tell me that, look, Donna, and he would tell it to the client as well, when he's doing his bill. He said, we're hired help. We're here to help. The focus is not us. We're not the stars of the show. The stars of the show are the clients or the family. And the job is to do what is in their best interest. And that should be the focus. So, when sometimes things are hard, when they're asking, when kinukulit ka, they're nagging you, it's because they need help, and we're hired help. And that's the job, it's not us. It's not being right, or it's not about our ego, but it is about these clients, putting them in a better position. That really resonated to me when he said that to me. That's the reason why you have to answer calls straight away, or you email, or you tell them when you need to come back, when you can come back to them if you can't straight away. That moved me as a young lawyer. That really moved me. He's been in the industry for about 30 plus years, and he still had the same passion for problem solving, for being that person who can assist these clients. So it also means understanding these clients. Hindi lang yung textbook. We always say that, not just the textbook, but everything, all the circumstances surrounding the case. Keep your eyes open. Hindi lang yung academic part, but the practical part as well. Now this one, bit more on the practical side, saying that time management is a golden skill in this industry. So when you're in law school na, may coursework ako, deadline, ganito, I'm so busy. Your deadlines more in practice will be exponentially more. And you will be dealing with, not just deadlines, court deadlines, but also deadlines from the other side, deadlines staying imposed on clients. So it's very important that you get on top of your time management skills. So in this situation, if you miss a deadline, may practical, severe, and sometimes severe consequences. Sometimes your case can be struck out or dismissed. You know, in law school, you miss a deadline, you know, you fail the subject and you can try again the next year. Here, it's real life consequences. So diarizing, really keeping a diary. If you're in law school, start it now. I use Microsoft Outlook, nothing fancy, just the Microsoft Outlook with a reminder option. And I diarize not just deadlines. And this is something that, if you ask my team member, isa sa pinaka, siguro, particular ako. Because when I was younger, you know, I've learned the hard way, what are the consequences. Wala namang permanent, but it could be problematic. So you really have to get your diarizing skills very, very polished. With us, I'll share a practical example. When we have a core deadline or we have any deadline, we put the deadline, but we put warning dates as well, so that we get to look at how busy we are months in advance. So warning is, we call it 4, 3, 2, 1 daily, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, and daily before the deadline. So it gives us an idea, gives us a time to prepare. So if you have a coursework now, if you have an assignment, practice this, put it in your diary, put warning dates, 4, 3, 2, 1 daily, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, and daily. Now we're last to the last three. I'll go through it very quickly. I know I've taken a bit of time. The next one is a bit more pastoral. A lot of people say it's such a stressful job. It's such a high pressure job. It can be. You're dealing with a lot of high emotions, especially in litigation, especially in family law. Siguro yun yung dalawang areas that you will read. People come to you because they have a problem. They don't really come to you if they're happy. That's the reality of our jobs. You know, they come to you because there's an issue and it needs to be sorted. So a part of that is accepting that reality, siguro na ganun talaga ang trabaho natin. But it is possible to find your own little piece in a very, could be chaotic day, could be a very dynamic. One way to look at it is dynamic. You know, you've got potentially a crisis happening there, a deadline happening there, and another one happening here. So you really have to find your little slices of happiness throughout the day. I normally, you know, go for a little coffee and cookie break when I need a little break. We, as you know, we do gym sessions every week now just to get the dopamines running. And sometimes at the end of the day, my colleagues and I will have a laughing out loud session about anything that finds us amusing, just to take care of ourselves. You can practice that now if you're in law school. You can practice that now if you're a trainee solicitor. It has to work for you. So whatever, you may not like cookies, you may not like having a workout, whatever it is that you like doing, find the time. You can find the time. That's what I've learned over the last 11 years. Pag gusto mo talaga, pag papasayahin ka, find the time. Kahit 5 minuto lang siya, kahit 30 minutes lang siya, it will definitely make you a more sustainable lawyer. That's the most important thing. Because you know, you don't want to burn out 3 years into your career, 5 years into your career. You want to be here. If you're happy here, you want to be here as long as possible. Number 10, I think again it's one of those pangaral na binigay ng dati kong mentor, my former training principal, and my former was still a mentor. And it's a privilege to be given that trust to solve someone else's problem. And again, that really resonated to me. If you're a solicitor, if you're a lawyer, they entrust you with solving the problem. And instead of reframing, instead of looking at it as a burden, looking at it as ito na naman, you know, I tried reframing it because sometimes, you know, you have hard days, we have hard days. If you try to reframe it and say, it's nice to be able to be given that opportunity, to be given that trust. Nasa sayo yung opportunity to put them from what we say point A to point B. And finally, and probably that's the reason why I'm going for holiday and a little break, is look after yourself. You have to look after yourself. And I always say this is the airport rule. This is the airplane oxygen rule. So yung oxygen rule sa airplane, you can't put someone else's oxygen until you put oxygen on yourself. So you have to look after yourself. You have to make sure you're fresh and you're at your best in order to do your best. So I always say to my team members, we have to manage, we have to manage fatigue, we have to manage tiredness, we have to take turns getting some rest so that everyone is well and everyone can do their jobs properly. That's part of life. So if you're tired, try to find opportunities to rest. It's hindi naman ito marathon hanggang sino ang mahimatay. It's much better, as I've said, if we prevent burnout by looking after ourselves. If we look at athletes, sila may recovery period. This is also in some ways an endurance event, highly pressured, yes, highly emotive jobs, quite stressful at times because of what's all the issues, because you're the one managing the issues. But if you can find, if this is really what makes you happy, if this is really what you feel is your vocation, your purpose, your calling, it is possible to find happiness kahit in the midst of a very hard day, and it is possible to still to still do things that you feel, it's not so lawyerly. You can have hobbies, you can have life-work balance. It is possible. And most importantly, if you are watching this and you end up qualifying, you end up in an industry, pass it forward para mamana ng susunod na henerasyon yung mga, and add your own personal tips. That's the thing, make it your own. Don't really listen to me if you think that's not for you. Make it your own career.
Wow. Well, we have learned a lot from you, no?
It's probably the ins of the trade at the moment. An inside perspective of what we do as lawyers and the journey of young lawyers. I know it's hard out there. I know it's hard to get a training contract. I know it's hard for junior lawyers, to be practicing. First few years, mahirap talaga because you feel, ano ba to? I'm not quite used to this. But it will pass. It will pass with experience, and you will be fine. And I always say that to the younger lawyers here at the firm. And you will find mentors along the way. A lot of people are quite happy to teach.
Sabi mo, parang getting a training contract, is it a challenge? You finished law school. So what happens? Ano tong sinasabi mong training contract? Because sabi mo kasi don't give up, yung challenging yung training contract. What is a training contract?
A training contract, it may not be, I don't know the current law at the moment. When I was in law school, you can't qualify as a solicitor unless someone hires you, and not just hires you, but trains you under their wing for 2 years. And they have to sign off on you, parang doctor, when they're doing their internship. In my case, it was extra hard because that someone who has to hire me has to also get me a visa. So I was lucky. I think that was the point. And during that time when I graduated, it was recession. A lot of companies were actually not hiring, and it's known in the industry even after the recession. It's a very competitive industry. Firms don't take it lightly, because if we take responsibility in giving someone a training contract, I have to make them solicitor ready, lawyer ready, in 2 years' time, and I have to make that promise to my own. I have to make that assurances, to give that assurance to my own professional regulatory body. So it's a very, very heavy responsibility, and that's the reason as well na hindi ganon yung places for training contract. Madaming candidates to start off, and then the places are not as much. Also, you have to, most of them, you'd like to, ano din yun investment yan, Mr. Laragan, ng isang firm, because the trainees are not necessarily, you'll have to spend time with them, you'll have to spend management hours, you'll have to spend time training them. So it's really quite a full-on investment of the firm. So very, very hard to get, and still is. But I think it's different now. I don't know, maybe super exams, it's almost like a bar exam. But I think at the end of it, you still need to be hired, I think. So not a lot of, there's still the training contract route. I think a lot of the traditional firms still prefers that because of, we like to train them in the way that we like as a firm. So I've been asked this question by a lot of young students: what is the atmosphere or the feedback from legal practitioners? It's a wait and see at the moment. We haven't had our first exam route. All our trainee solicitors are via the training contract, wherein we look after them for 2 years. We really keep an eye on their training, and we have to sign off when they qualify, and we give that assurance that they're ready to our regulatory body. So it's known to be hard to get a training contract.
Oh, okay. Medyo nagbago na yata yan, no? Because I was supposed to take up law December, December, I don't know, 2 years ago. I think I was talking to you about it yata before, no? Pero hindi ko na tinuloy dahil sayang kasi nga yung age ko, so hindi na aabot o lumagpas na doon sa age na pwede ka pang kumuha ng parang government loan or something like that. So sabi ko, sayang, ayoko naman lumabas sa bulsa ko, no? But the December intake would more or less put me still in the old system. The old system. But anyway, so good, at least alam na ng mga kababayan natin.
We can still choose at the moment because the last intern that we had was still choosing the old ways.
Okay. Oh, kasi nga, no.
Still able to choose the last one, I think about a few months ago, because they want to know what's the feedback from the industry, and it's it's law is such a traditionalist industry. Talagang medyo ano pa rin kami na ako personally, it's still more I want to be able to train someone for 2 years.
Okay, I was applying actually sa Leeds Law School noon kaya lang hindi ko na tinuloy sayang pero ganun kasi you mentioned law school, tapos yung second mo, find a mentor, pass it forward. So you were lucky along the way. Was this mentality parang, was it passed on to you? Did somebody tell, hey, you're studying law, you have to find a mentor? Sinabi sa'yo, kailangan. So hindi yan something na from your own na maghahanap ako ng mentor. Was there somebody who told you, hey, you're studying law, find a mentor?
In some ways, I think when I was younger, I always have some sort of a mentor. But ito ang inintroduce lang ako, and I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks lang. And everyone seems to want some sort of work experience. Yun yung hinahanap ko, an unpaid work experience for 2 weeks. Just to, hindi naman long-term mentoring, but just to learn from someone. Yun yung hint sa akin, ito, I-introduce kita. He's a good guy, very intelligent guy, and he's willing to, give you a legal experience internship for 2 weeks. So that started it. But then he was almost like a father figure kasi we were talagang we nag-jive yung personalities namin, and I ended up staying there for nine years instead of 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay. You mentioned about yung kasi nga kami sa Mascom, sa industriya na yung mga interns namin, go first lang yan. You go
Yes.
Xeroxing, you
Yeah.
go timpla ka ng kape. Pero
ka
sinabi
kape.
mo, nag-enjoy ka doon sa, although yung pagsi-Xerox, because while you're doing the Xerox, it takes you, probably an hour or two, and you got the chance to more or less read it and study it, no? Nagiging parang learning, o reading session mo na rin, di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Alam mo,
yeah.
after 2 years, Mr. Laragan, ako na yung ninja. Ninja na ako mag-Xerox. Ako na pinakamabilis mag-Xerox dun sa,
Really?
kumpanya
Alright.
namin. Ako na may sistema na ako. And I would sometimes sit and sift through. Tapos, pag trial, alam mo kung anong page. Tatanungin, asang page? Alam ko pa anong page yan. Kasi
Kabisado mo na.
kabisado mo. It's such a mundane. I know a lot of people hate doing, a lot of the younger people hate doing it, but you can really learn a lot.
Find out a positive, no, in what you're doing, di ba? Parang, okay, you're
Yeah.
doing the Xeroxing, you understand fully that you're the junior of the firm, but make the most of it. So, yun nga, it develops yung sleuthing mo dahil alam lang, Dana, nasa na page na alam mo, ito page, nasa page 24 yan, nasa page 9 yan, nasa, di ba? So,
And it does happen to
training din
trial.
yun. Parang yung
Mr. Laragan, they were looking, and my previous boss would look at me, and I would immediately give him a sticky note saying, "This is it. That's the job. That's your job as a young lawyer or a support for the main when they're presenting in trial." I would give straight away. Alam mo na. And when the other side is presenting their submissions, hindi may ebidensya kami against that, and you would straight away, and after the submissions, you'd go to your main lawyer, and you would say, no, he was wrong about that. And that's how I learned yung value ng pagpo-photocopy. Kasi alam mo, nakita ko yun eh. Halos kainin mo na yung buong bundle. You're having to deal with it for 3 days. Alam mo na, left from page 1 to page 700, you know exactly where things are.
You gave the example of Karate Kid, di ba? Yung
Yeah.
Okay,
White
pagka
wall.
gusto mo mag-aral ng martial arts, tapos biglang ang first day mo, halimbawa, sabi sa'yo ni Japanese teacher mo, ano ba yung wipe, wipe out, wipe in. Teka muna, ano ba to? Ano magkinalaman nito? Wala, di ba? Pero may essence pala yun, di ba? Yung pagpari ng blow, pagpari ng di ba? So, yun. So,
And very similar to this. Very, very similar. You'll develop that reflex when sometimes we're given ganun kadaming papel to read. I showed you last week yung pinabasa ko, and I have it here. Just don't want to show it kasi baka makita yung pangalan.
may sinasabi ka, how many pages yung sinasabi mo? Yung maraming pages natin?
And at one time, I had to, isa yan sa mga normal reading in one day. One
Wow.
ano lang yan. So, you get to, because alam mo na yung medyo mabilis ka na magbasa, and then you can deal with huge documents dahil dati ikaw yung nagbabundle, so you know how things, you know how to manage huge information. So you develop na yung wipe on, wipe off na reflex na yan in terms of, you develop that managing huge boatload of information. It's very interesting. For me, it's weird kasi isa ako sa mga medyo may paborito. Towards the end, naging paborito ko na mag-bundle. And sometimes, I think pag off yung team member ko, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to still do it.
Okay, going back, attorney, doon sa kasi kami, sa media, for example, sa Pilipinas, mga mass commerce student namin, okay, yun nga, timpla ka ng kape, Xerox ka ng ganito, dali mo itong kable ng microphone kay ganyan, paki-charge yung battery ng camera crew. Pero wala kaming ginagawa na gawa ka ng news item. Tas babasahin sa mamaya kunyari sa GMA kunyari o anong station yon. So meaning to say, wala kaming binibigay na actual sa mga estudyante, kundi yun nga yung mga trivial task. Pero sabi mo kanina, taking witness statements, hindi ba medyo challenging yan? Can the law firm trust a new one taking witness statements? is it a difficult job, witness statement? Sabi mo nga,
Yeah,
know how
it
to
is.
cross-examine, know how to ano. But
Yeah.
if you're new, is that what you usually in practice, yan ba ang ginagawa? Ang pagka sa may bagong kliyente ang law firm, tagakuha ng witness statement, yung bagito?
It depends sa complexity ng statement na kukunin. It depends din sa kung gaano ka junior yung junior. Sometimes you have a senior junior, yung malapit na mag-qualify, and you actually need to push them a little bit. You want them to have a taste of more complex matters. Kasi you can still, I can still sit in, and I normally sit in. So you just let them do that, and you know, you observe. With more complicated ones, obviously the more senior people takes it. But kung simple lang yung kukunin na statement, you know, and you know hindi naman it's easily verified because the client would still have to make it court compliant. Yeah, with very simple statements, you can get, not necessarily siguro yung intern or yung newly graduate, one of the trainee solicitors. That's probably one of the things that they could do. So when you say yung mga substantive work, a lot of yung mga interns, you know, we ask them to do legal research, and we ask them to present internally, hindi sa client, internally their own take about cases. So I would give them a scenario, and I would tell them, okay, give me an answer, and if I like it, you know, I'll present it to
I'll
the
adapt
client.
it. Okay, all right.
We can incorporate that. And they become part of the process, and we will credit them. You know, I like crediting, and I would say, well, look, this is actually, you know, their idea. You know, this is actually, you know, their thoughts on the matter, and you try to build up the confidence as well. Pero andun ka pa rin to supervise, to really see. You know, that's the reason why I said na talagang malaking investment kung may mga training solicitors ka, because you really have to check if they are doing what's expected of them. But quite interesting. We love taking interns. We do normally kapag may mga lumalapit. So we give them a mix of gopher work and a mix of substantive legal work. So it's quite interesting.
Okay, so you're really letting them parang parang get their hands wet in a way, no?
Yeah.
So in the process, you mentioned, because in the process they fail because you said enjoy failing. You know, not all cases are
Sabi yung
winnable.
definition of failing, definition of failing.
Ano yung enjoy failing?
Hindi
Parang
negligent. Oh, we don't expect people to be negligent. Hindi naman tayo negligent. Hindi yun ang expectation. By failing, that's the reason why it's inverted commas failing. You know, sometimes you feel it didn't work out. The strategy didn't work out. But everyone understood the risk. You know, you took a risk as to the strategy. You took a risk na potentially ito yung interpretation ng judge, but the judge did not side with you. You know, that's not getting the result that you want. But enjoy the process. What could have been done better? What can you learn from it? You know, we go back to the maxim na try to find something positive about it, because in your life, hindi katulad naman sa buhay, hindi naman tayo parati panalo. Ganun talaga. Hindi tayo parating mananalo sa kaso, and things will not always be very smooth.
learning, nandun pa rin tayo sa learning attorney, no? Sabi mo, don't limit yourself. Siguro mga 2 or 3 areas or something, no? At the moment, you have family law and litigation law, which you juggle, no? I mean, walang specific time na sabi mo na pagka ganong oras, family law muna ako, hindi ako pwedeng guluhin ng anything about litigation. So, which one is priority? Okay, so you were still learning. Anong gusto mo pang area of law na i-specialize in?
On and off. I've done immigration on and off, but very simple immigration. Self-taught din ako sa immigration, so that's something I've studied a bit of commercial leases as well. I know a bit of commercial leases. It's always a development, a development route for me to do commercial leases in due course. I know how to do leases, but I don't just do it a lot. So those are areas that I not just now. I've been looking at that many years ago. So depende on your career, depende on the demand. It depends as well how how you wish to further develop later on in your career. But meron ako mga kilala later on in life, yun din yung parati natin sinasabi, nagiging notary. So that's notary. It's a classic one that lawyers take near, I don't want to be ageist, nearer to retirement, I think. Yan ang isang area of law na kinukuha. I don't know why, but nearer to retirement, they seem to take up notary law. Hindi po dito lahat ng abogado ay notary. There's very few only. It's a very specialist area of law, and you'll find it tends to be the older generation. So I'm not saying I want to do that. I might do that. I don't know.
Who knows? Hindi natin alam, di ba? As you go, it's a process, di ba? It's a process. You said you keep learning because the law changes then, di ba? So parang you have to keep learning, di ba? You have to keep learning, keep learning.
It used to be na meron kaming dati continuing professional development. Dati we have to do it a certain hours per year. So they said, now self-monitor na lang, but it's still good. We do webinars. I used to go once a year sa isang parang law conference. Before COVID. That was before COVID. But now I just I think webinars are the most efficient ones these days.
Attorney, ikaw, well, of course, no, you're Pinay, tapos young and beautiful. Pagka nakita ka nila, hindi nila akalain na parang abogada ko, dahil para you are so young, para ka lang kaklase para ka kumbaga sa college mukha kang kaklase lang nila sa college, di ba? Dahil bata-bata, and marami ka pang mga nakakatuwa sa'yo. Umaakit ka ng bundok, lumasali ka sa marathon, di ba? Meron ka pang martial arts, ano ba yung uniforme? Kulay blue ba yung uniforme mo?
Naka-gi po.
Gi, oo. You've been mentioning find the time for, di ba, syempre, di ba, minsan parang stressful din ng konti. Syempre, yung learning of time management sa skolahan siguro, time management, pag you fail something, pwede mo ulitin. Pero dito, you're failing a client, sabi mo nga, you have to treat the client as the focus is helping the client. And if you left, well, in a way, pag doing deadlines, kailangan sanay ka, hindi pwedeng bukas na yan, di ba? So ngayon, but you find time with everything, yun nga, nakakapag-bound, pupunta ka na Athens ngayon, at saka Aegina, ano yan? Is it you balancing it, attorney? Is it you, or is it something that has also passed on to you? Dana, you have to ganon through your mentors, or is it something that you learn? Kasi tinitingnan natin yung mindset mo ngayon and that is what the viewers are, yung anak nila o sila o nasasabihin nila sa anak nila, makita natin itong sinasabi mo, yung mga ginagawa mo, finding time. Kasi ang gulat kami, abogado ka, you're the head of your law firm, managing part, ang dami mong hawak, pero parang amazed kami sa'yo na you know how to, I don't know, time manage ba yun? Ito, pupunta ako sa Scotland, ilang araw ko ron, punta ako ng Athens, tatakbo akong ganito, meron akong Christmas party sa mga kababata ko. How do you do it? Is it something that you are doing yourself, or was it taught to you or imparted to you, or paano yan? Ikaw, kasi mangha kami sa iyo dahil wow, si Attorney Dana, pag nakikita, grabe, makit ng bundok, pupunta ng ganon, di ba?
Actually, this is my first ever proper holiday for about 2 years. So a lot of people actually here thinks that my holiday is way overdue. I work very hard.
No, but you've done marathons, you've done climbing mountains, di ba?
Yeah.
Oo, so parang meron kang naka-giba, so, di ba? So parang wow, tas nag-yoga ka pa, kung ano. Parang bang multi-talented, is it something that you have, because of your work, you have to pursue all of these things, and so siguro nagninilay-nilay ka ba na ito gagawin ko, it makes me whole because ito trabaho ko, parang hard work, pero I can also play hard, parang ganyan,
yeah,
diba?
exactly. Yes, a lot of this was taught pick up throughout the years. Na you work hard, but equally you have to be able to manage that. Yung mga naging mentors ko, most of them have fantastic hobbies, na gusto talaga nila. A lot of them enjoy life. This is one part of life. Work is one part of life, but not the only part of life. And if it's turning up in your best self. So you look at this job and you have to be able to be at your best self. And if best self means well rested ka, and you are at peace, you are happy. So find the time. It's really just about time management. I got better throughout the years. I was not so good when I was starting. Taking 1 week off means really pushing hard the last 2 weeks to make sure that everything is smooth when I'm away. So behind the scenes, it means, working doubly hard for the last week. Probably I had to almost every hour sa diary ko naka-allocate for something. It's not because I'm busy, it's because I'm trying to put in as much as I can. I am busy, but not in hindi naman yung that I don't have time to do things. It can't be that. If you want something to be done, it can be done if you find the time. You will find the time. If you want it hard enough, you will find the time. That's, for me, that is it. If I wanna climb a mountain, that can be done, but not at the expense of my client. So I'm gonna have to find the balance in that. If I'm feeling that I need a rest, I'm also gonna have to find a balance with that when I take rest, that the clients don't suffer. So you will find a way to balance it. You will get better throughout the years. You will find the gauge kung kailan ka na medyo pagod. And actually, you become less efficient kapag pagod ka. You become more efficient if you're fresh. You become more efficient if you're happy. And that's the reason why we promote that. We promote, have 30 minutes. Yoga class is 30 minutes. Or yung legally fit namin is 30 to 45 minutes. That's 30 or 45 minutes of looking less on social media, but doing something. Going X days a week. We have holidays, we have annual leave in the UK, so it's just managing kung ano yung annual leave mo every 3 or 4 months to ensure that you get the rest so you can turn up with your best self for your clients. So all of those, it does take a lot of scheduling and planning, and you will get better because you want it. If you want it, nothing can stop you. If you want it hard enough, you will make it happen. And I'm pretty sure you've had that in your life, that you want to do this thing, but you've got these responsibilities, and you will make the time to fit, and you will be more motivated. For the last few weeks, I've been motivated because, I'm going away, but I want to make sure that it's smooth. So it means, being more efficient. So yeah, it's time management helps. A lot of my mentors are multifaceted yung buhay nila. They have other interests. They make time, and it's important, very, very important. I'm saying this, hindi lang to lip service, because you can ask my team members. I always say it's important to get some rest. It's important to look after yourself. If you hear doctors, you can ask them. It's quite important for them when they're making decisions that they're making that when that they ensure they're well rested din sila, that they have, that they are at their optimal best. I believe in that. That's how athletes are. Athletes, they do a lot of work, but they also get recovery, and you recover by doing things that you love, doing things that makes you happy. So it's not, all this, for me, again, this is personal. Now, being a lawyer, na kailangan 12 midnight ka na. There were times in my career that I had to do that, and I've had to do that. I will do that. But when okay na uli lahat, I'll return and add different interesting stuff in my life because it makes me happy. So it's fine.
Ayan, nako eh. Well, I'm sure inspired yung ating kababayan. Ako nga, natutuwa rin ako dahil amazed nga ako sa iyo, no, na pwede pala, no, pwede palang makita yung ginagawa mo and be doing a serious job. Lawyering is a serious job, di ba? Dahil hindi naman, lives of clients, happiness of clients. Sabi mo nga, kailangan masanay na kayo na pagka nandiyan ka, sasalubungin mo, parang lungkot o problema eh. Di ba?
Absolutely.
Di ba? Yun na yun eh. Pero you will have to find the positive dyan sa work na yan. It's a serious job. Pero ang galing ng ginagawa mo because you're pursuing things outside of your law profession that makes you a whole balanced person, no? So you can balance your legal and your, di ba, yung personal life, no? And you make, alam mong talagang tao ka, no? Hindi, so at least
it's good. I encourage younger people to do that. Don't lose yourself. You can still be yourself in this profession. You can have fun, and you don't need to be only a lawyer. This doesn't need to completely just define you. This is one area of your life. One time they thought, sabi yung ano naman ako, na-flatter ako. Sabi, uy, akala ko fitness instructor ka. Di tuwan-tuwa naman ako.
Bakit? Dahil nakasuot ka ng parang ano?
Naka-yoga na sa yoga class.
Okay.
Nasa yoga class ako, tapos bibo ako doon sa yoga class. Tapos tinanong, ano pa ginagawa mo?
Hindi lang, managing. Yeah, okay.
I was younger then. I was just a,
okay.
I'm a lawyer. At gulat na gulat si ate. Akala ko fitness instructor ka. But I felt flattered. I really felt flattered because natawa ako. Sabi ko, that's nice.
Yung element of surprise.
I don't want to be a lawyer, but it feels like, people see you as who you are and not necessarily for what you do. Because this is a job.
Pero amazing ka, no? Kaya nga kung hindi nila malalaman na, kung naka-casual ka lang, naka-running pants ka in a marathon or nasa ano ka lang, yung suot mong, kunyari, knapsack mo going up the mountain, nobody would really mistake you as the head of a managing partner of a law firm, di ba? Maganda yun. Element of surprise, di ba? Uy, gugulat sila, di ba? So, parang ganun. So, yeah, that's nice. At least, yan ang nakikita ka nila. You might mention your other colleagues or mentors have lived multifaceted lives, but we don't know them. Hindi alam ng mga nanonood sa atin. But they can see you. And you could be an example to their children. No? Tignan si Attorney DANNA. Kita mo, well-rounded, pero she's a lawyer. And she's the head of a, So, yun, very reachable. Kitang-kita nila. So, which is good. Attorney, teka muna, bago tayo magpaalam din sa biyahe mo, may a couple of questions dito, no?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Sabi ni, magandang gabi po, Attorney DANNA and Sir SONNY. Madalas po akong nakaka-experience ng bullying dito sa aking trabaho. Ano po ba kung yung legal na action na pwede kong gawin? Maraming salamat po sa panibagong kaalaman tuwing Happy Tuesday. Si Rico.
Thank you, Rico. Yes. First of all, Rico, what you need to find is the handbook, yung handbook niyo sa anti-bullying harassment. And yes, your employer has a responsibility to provide you a reasonably safe environment, which means reasonably safe from bullying and discrimination. So, do a bit of homework. Hanapin mo lang yung handbook, hanapin mo yung policy against discrimination and bullying. Also, you need evidence. So, I don't know kung ano yung nangyari. This is quite general. So, if it was written, take a screenshot. If it was said, take a diary note of it. In your policy, dun makikita kung paano mo pwede erase yung issue na yan. Which means, ang issue na yan, official tawag namin is a grievance. Most of the company policy would ask you to first raise it informally, which means dito sa UK having a quiet word. So pwede mong kumbaga sabihin dun sa line manager mo kung hindi siya yung nambubuli sa iyo that look, I just want to raise this issue informally further to nakita ko yung handbook natin and I've been having these issues, maybe you know about this. Can you please do something about it? That's normally the first action. Now, kung wala silang ginawa dyan, depende kung ano yung nakalagay dun sa handbook mo, kaya kailangan mo hanapin yung handbook mo, then you can make a formal grievance. Doon mo nalalagay kung ano yung talagang nangyari, written grievance. The handbook will give you some guidances to the step-by-step process. Evidentially, you need to get evidence-wise, you need to get your evidence in order. From experience, that's the hardest part in this type of grievances, is getting the evidence. Kasi yung bullying, di naman nakikita minsan sa papel yan eh. Minsan, it's with conduct and with between the lines na banter pero bullying na pala. So either maghanap ka ng witness or really take down notes kung ano nangyari. Be very specific. This happened on this date, and these are the people who witnessed this incident. I hope that's helpful. If you need further info, I'll be back on 3rd of March. So go and call us here or email us. But before ka mag-email, pakihanap muna ng handbook nyo and I will have a look at it as well. But that's pretty much the structure to this type of issues.
Okay, checkin mo yung handbook mo, no? Rico, no? Ayan, no? So, yan. Ito, meron tayong second question dito, attorney. Sige, pakipasok nga direct. Okay, basahin ko lang yung, sige. Good evening, Attorney Dana. Sir Sonny, just wanted to ask, my concern po ako sa isa sa mga friends ko. She's spreading bad rumors sa Facebook about me na hindi po talaga maganda at malaki po talaga yung epekto sa akin mentally and emotionally. I am asking this po to know kung ano po ba ang maipapayo nyo sa akin, and at the same time, ano po yung mga legal actions na pwede kong gawin. Thanks in advance. Rosana. Rosiana ba? Rosiana.
Rosiana ata.
Yun yung pangalan niya, Rosiana. Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Roshana, thank you for your question. Yes, potentially, if hindi lang bad rumors, it has bad or malicious rumors, or false allegations against you. Potentially, this can be Facebook yan, so it's published. This can be defamation or defamatory na tinatawag. Again, you need evidence, so screenshot yung mga rumors, yung mga false allegations, malicious comments na yan. You can report them to Facebook straight away, that this is derogatory and malicious. Legally here in the UK, you can also ask a lawyer to write to them a cease and desist letter and to remove such publication from Facebook. So pwedeng sulatan yan, sabihin na, look, this is defamatory because of X, Y, and Z. Di naman totoo yan. This is malicious. This is causing emotional and mental injuries to our client. Please remove that and please issue an apology. Apology, napakahirap kunin, but at least remove that within X hours. So that's a cease and desist letter, and the area of law is defamation. You have 1 year from the date of the publication to either to go to the court or to take action. So do it pretty quickly. So yeah, that's the answer. If you want to have a free consultation, again, as I've said, call us or email us. I'll be back on the 3rd of March, but in the meantime, I'd ask you to take a screenshot of those posts sa Facebook. Or kung friends mo man yung nakakita, please take a screenshot. It has to be na kailangan identifiable ka, either pinangalanan ka, or kung hindi ka man pinangalanan, kumbaga sobrang, hindi ka man pinangalanan pero alam na ikaw yon. So we need to tie that up to link those posts to you. So get those evidence. Happy to have a chat upon my return. Yeah, that's one thing that we can do. Also, you can ask Facebook you can report them to Facebook.
Attorney, yung sinabi mo cease and desist, that is only coming from a law firm, a lawyer.
I mean, she can...
Pwede ba siyang personal mag-cease? Walang force eh. Walang force yun dahil di ba, hindi matatakot dahil kaya nga siya binastos eh. Dahil nga walang respeto. Kung susulat pa siya, I am asking you or ordering you, whatever, to cease and desist. Kumuha ng lawyer halimbawa para lang makagawa ng letter. Magkano, hindi lang siya, marami bang siguro, hindi lang sa Rosiana, marami pa. Siyempre, kahihiyan nila, hindi nila mababayaran yan, di ba? Parang gusto nilang 'di ba? They will have to spend para lang takutin yung ibang tao. More or less ballpark figure, how much would they spend for a cease and desist letter to be
It
sent?
depends. It depends
depends.
on I'd rather see the papers and I'd rather see
Okay. Baka
first.
ako ano yan, mga
Depends,
100, 500, 700. Kasi nga, parang asar ka doon sa tao eh. Kung gagawa ka cease and desist, hindi ka papansinin. Pero kung merong parang, tawag dito, yung letterhead ng lawyer or something, di ba, dumating sa post nila,
Yeah.
matatakot siguro yun, di ba? Parang ganun, di ba? Yun nga. Well, anyway, wag ho niyong gawin niya kung sino man kayo, kung may kaaway kayo, at gusto niyo hiyain di ba? Huwag niyo sisirahan sa dahil delikado rin. Ano repercussions niyan? Halimbawa, meron bang criminal repercussions? Sabi mo defamation, ano sabi mo kanina?
Defamation, yeah. Defamation here. It's
Ano
civil.
mga aabuting mga ano niyan? Mga let's say, ano repercussion ng isang ganyang gumawa ng
It
masamang
it could be a financial damages, siguro pwedeng sabihin. It depends kung ano dun sa person, what did the person lose out if she lost on and dito merong personal injury na nangyayari. She's alleging psychological injuries here, so that's something. If there are financial injuries, i.e. I think na natin si August nun yung example natin na nawalan si August ng kontrata sa modeling because of a defamatory allegation, and the modeling contract says, for example, was going to be worth £30,000. So you can claim that. You can say, look, purely I lost out on this contract because of this defamatory allegation. It really depends on the case. So I think if you have something like that, best to have a chat with a lawyer. But the first thing really to give you a general guidance is, ang importante dyan, matanggal as soon as possible yung nakalagay doon. Sa nakapublish. Yun ang pinaka-importante. Because the longer it is on the World Wide Web, mas malaki ang damage. So, talk to a lawyer, get Facebook involved kasi sila yung platform. If you can get that, it's cheaper. Free lang naman sabihin sa Facebook, natanggalin mo yan block mo sila. But may mga situations that it's much bigger and much more complicated, especially when businesses are involved. Yun ang nagkakaroon ng mas malaking damages. When businesses are involved, when reputations are involved, when either there are financial repercussions, then that will be reflected dun sa damages na makukuha ng injured party.
Okay. Alright. Yung mga last pagbati natin, attorney, medyo humaba tayo nga dahil mamimiss ka namin. Of course, although makakasama ka pa rin namin, you'll find a way to be with us in Athens on next Tuesday.
Yes, Athens tayo.
Uy, this is good. Sabi na hindi pa namin nabas. Ni Edgar, sabi na, this is good. My Alex, sabi niya? My Alex, thank you for that kaalaman. This is good for my Alex. Sana dire-diretso si Alex, no? Sanchez, Grace Sanchez, nanonood siya. Good afternoon sila. Bakit? Anong oras ba? Ahead ba sila ng 2 hours sa atin? No. Good afternoon.
Baka kanina siya
hindi, totoo kasi parang ahead, hindi ko alam kung anong oras. Direct pakicheck. Kung hindi mo naman check, okay lang. Teka muna, sino to? Okay, I can see you're a good person daw, sabi niya. Couldn't agree more, sabi niya. Inspiration ka to our kababayan. Couldn't agree more. Inspiration to our kababayan at Sir Sonny for keeping Filipinos in UK. And inspiration si Attorney Dana, no? Tapos pay it forward. Well said, sabi niya.
Pay it forward, yeah. Pay it forward, very important.
Well said. Oo, okay. Si Yoli, sabi nga to, yes po, they still regard 2 years of legal experience before you qualify.
It's
Sino
still
Yoli? Si Yoli. Nag-aaral ka ba ng law, Yoli?
Yeah, nag-aaral ka ba? Or anak mo?
Good. Sayang, hindi ko lang tinuloy. That was, I think, December nung kinakausap kita yata, attorney. 2 December ago yata yung December intake, no? Doon sa Leeds Law School. Pero sayang. Hindi bale. Okay lang. Okay lang yan. Okay. So, looking forward, ano ang biyahe to your trip to Athens? Nakakaingit, I really would like to go back to Athens, no?
Exactly.
So, ano oras ang flight mo bukas?
7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, 7 o'clock. Pero nakahanda na maleta mo? Okay na? Everything's okay?
Malapit na po. Malapit ng
Malapit na.
last few items na lang. So it's okay. Sabi nga natin time management. So I was organizing it a few days ago. So nearly there. Talaga, yun lang. Talagang disiplina ka talaga sa time management. Kasi this is real. Akala ni Mr. Laragan, talagang nag-yoga lang ako. It's been a 12-hour day today, so it's one of the long days. Normally my days are 8 to 10 hours, and that's okay. It's not always 10. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 12. But it's okay because you get to do things that you love during other times, and that's
Hindi ba 8 to 10 ngayon? Because like you said, because you're leaving, parang sometimes you have to make sure everything's in order, okay, and that's the reason why you spent a bit of more time bago ka umalis.
No, it really depends. Yes, it's been extra work for the last few hours, for the last few days, but it depends on what's required. It really depends on the clients, on what's required for the day. So I don't know, but I try to keep a level of balance na hindi naman sobrang mapapagod ka by Wednesday pa lang or Thursday. A lot of it is managing your own energy as well. So Tuesday is a long day. So I try to not overwork on a Monday. So Monday I try to, if I can, I try not to do as much overtime. Wednesday I'll be fine. Thursday, siguro most of the time Thursday I work quite longer on Thursday. And then Friday, happy na lahat dahil they're nearly there. So it depends.
Yes.
It's not always yung nakikita natin sa TV na 12, 15 hours. There were times when I have to do that. Pag talagang sobrang busy. It happens. It's part of the job. But there are days na I can go home 8 hours normal. I can go home just shortly after 5. And that's good. It means you were efficient. It's more about working smarter. And hard still, but work na hindi ka ma-burn out. You have to be sustainable. So sa mga younger lawyers dyan, find your balance. Find what makes you happy. If this is the one that makes you happy, then you will be able to know yourself more as you grow older, and you will find how you will do your own legal practice. So you really have to make it your own. Kahit pa may mentor ka, kahit pa nanood ka nito, it's quite important to make it your own.
Okay, attorney, ito merong message dito si Attorney Danna Quinto, happy vacation. Sir Sonny LARAGAN, happy nice evening both of you. Sabi ni Chismosang kapitbahay. Sabi ni Marian Garisa Paner, maraming salamat po sa magandang kaalaman, and have a wonderful time to your holiday, Attorney Danna. And stay safe always. Take care. Stay safe always. Doon, nagre-require din sila na maski sa metro nila, I don't know ngayon kung nagbago na, attorney, pero sa metro, lahat ng taong nandun, nakamask.
I'm expecting that. Yeah.
Ang hotel mo ba nasa center of, sa Athens ka?
Sa Athens po yung studio that I'm getting. So
is it close to the city center? Close to the
city center.
Okay, if you're taking the I don't know kung meron kang
I will
sundo
take
or whatever.
I think I will take or the cab.
Take the metro.
Yung beat
Take the metro. Marami ka bang dala? Take the metro. May ang metro line number 2 yata or something, from the airport all the way to sa city center. Ang pinaka-center kasi Sindarma. No, pero
I'm going straight to the port, Mr. Laragan. So
sa Piraus yata. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going straight to the port. So there's a bus that goes straight to the port. So I'm taking that. So
doon ka ba muna sa Aegina? You're gonna go to Aegina first?
Yeah.
All right. Pati yung ferry mo, yung sasakyan mo naka-book na yon.
No, I've not booked it kasi hindi ko alam kung anong oras ako darating. So I'll buy it from there.
Okay. Anong oras ba flight? Anong oras ang dating mo ron? Hopefully.
1
o'clock. 2 hours sila advance, ha? 2 hours advance ako.
Okay.
So kung 1 o'clock ang dating mo ron, alas...
No, 1 local hour yun. Local hour po yun.
Kaya nga. So, alas 9 pa lang na umaga rito. Sorry, alas 11 ng umaga, I should say. 11.
11. Yeah,
O
11.
11. 3.5 hours in flight. So, maaga yung, anong oras ang flight mo? Alas 6? Alas 5? Alas 6?
Alas yun.
Alas 7. Oo. Hindi kasi 3.5 hours yung flight. 7, 8, 9, 10, 30, 11. Okay, okay. Tama. Well, malayo yun. From one end to the end kasi yung ano, di ba?
that's
From the
right.
airport.
About 1
Pero
hour.
okay yun.
About 1 hour is
Okay. Kung hindi naman gano'ng karami yung bagahe mo, kasi you can take the metro chains at Monastiraki to go to Piraeus yata or even si Dharma. May connecting yun eh. Tatlo lang ang ano na nun. Tatlo lang. Kung sanay ka sa London, at dito, mas complicated dito. Maraming lines dito. Doon, tatlo lang ang lines. Kung hindi mo pa naman nakabisado yun, ayaw ko na lang. Tatatlo lang lines doon. No? Line 1, 2, 3 lang yata. O ABC, parang 1, 2, 3 lang. Yun, But enjoy, ha? Enjoy. You enjoy your trip. We'll look forward to some photos. Hindi ko pa nga na-post pala yung aking courtesy call kay Ambassador.
Okay.
So, kaya lang, pwede kita i-coordinate sa ambassador sa ano tayo dito, sa, ano ba tayo dito? Sa courtesy call. Ang problema, nako, ang hirap pumunta sa embassy, maliligaw ka. Ang
Don't
embassy
worry.
natin sa Greece, parang kawawa mga Pilipino dahil very remote. Very remote, very
Don't
remote.
worry.
Sige.
We'll say hi to him virtually. Ganda
Yeah.
na.
Pero enjoy ka, ha? I'm looking forward to your photos sa Aegina and Athens and anywhere else na mapunta ka dahil syempre, di ba? It's a nice place and this is your parang belated birthday parang
Yes.
trip, di ba?
Very belated.
Very belated. So, attorney, sige, baka may gusto kang idagdag at saka doon sa mga bumati ng wishing you na a safe holiday, and enjoying your holiday. Baka may gusto mo silang batiin. Go right ahead and, paalam na tayo. How do they get in touch with you? Baka may naalala ka pa. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, you can contact me at d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com or call me at 0188 has been discussed already. I'll be away for 1 week, but I'll be back on the 3rd of March. So we'll get those information if you are sending inquiries now or the next few days. Sa lahat ng mga taga-subaybay, SRB natin, maraming salamat po. And I'd like to take this moment, kasi nga, nag-walk down the memory lane tayo. We're quite nostalgic. I'd like to thank all those na naging mentors ko sa buhay ko. David Scheibert, Kavita Scheibert sometimes says hello here, yung asawa niya. He's a lovely gentleman. Thank you for everything. Phil Willens, Abigail Mann, Mr. Ramon, and everyone else na nagdagdag ng kaalaman sa akin din. So, and that's the reason, sila din yung reason bakit may dagdag kaalaman ako na nabibigay dito sa show na to. And if you're hearing this, if you're gonna be a lawyer one day, anak nyo, kapatid nyo, kaibigan nyo, or if generally you've learned something from this today, pass it forward. Ipasa po natin para mas marami pa ang makadagdag ng mabigyan ng good vibes at mabigyan ng kaalaman. So for everyone, keep safe, keep learning, keep smiling, and Mr. Laragan and Direk Pao, thank you so much sa inyong dalawa. It's such a pleasure. Nakakatuwang umuwi dito every Tuesday.
Nako, para kaming medyo, parang tumantuwa kami, babiyahe ka, pero parang na-miss namin na parang, pero andyan ka lang naman, virtual na, we can, hindi, nakakatuwa kasi, alam mo na siyempre, parang iniisip natin parang sa Pilipinas, pag bumabiyahe, Hindi, pero actually, hindi ho natin mamimiss si attorney kasi she will try her best, hopefully, next Tuesday, live from Athens, para makausap natin. Okay. Well, enjoy your holiday, Attorney Dana, sabi ni Ma'am Cora Carsola. Oo. Tapos Emmeline Rafael, sabi niya, enjoy your holiday, Attorney Dana. Enjoy and keep safe. Tama. Well, gaya ng pagbati nila at pag-wish sa'yo ng keep safe, and enjoy. Ganun din sasabihin ko, Attorney, enjoy ka, and keep safe, At ako'y naiinggit Parang gusto ko sumama it's nice to be traveling again para tayo nakakawala. Ikaw parang 'di ba this was supposed to be your birthday trip, no? Kaya lang, ng panahon na yun, nandun tayo sa alanganin, biglang nag-Omicron eh. Nagbago ang lahat, di ba? And then you were trying more or less, take mo na hang on for a few days, baka sakaling magbago, mag-improve. Pero yun nga, you had no choice but to rebook it, no? So, is it the same company, same lahat, same arrangement?
The same, lahat the same.
Okay, good.
Where I'll be staying in Athens different, but the rest are the same.
Okay. Well, I guess ganun lang siguro ang aking pagpapaalam, no? Well, mga kaibigan, magpapaalam ho kami, no? So, sa ngalan ni Attorney Dana Quinto, nababiyahe ho ng Athens, Greece. Bantayan, watch her space dahil titignan natin kung ano yung kanya mga pinuntahan doon, no? At kung kumain ka ng souvlaki at yung ano yung sinabi ni ano kanina, spinachki, mga ganun-ganun, no? Punta mo tignan mo kung makita mo yung Pilipina lang doon sa may monasteraki kasi yun ang pinaka-hub nila yung monasteraki. Talagang sa gabi, talagang matao yun. Talagang doon nagkukumpulan yung mga tao. Meron pa silang flea market doon. So, yeah, doon sa monasteraki. Okay, well, sa ngalan mo, attorney, no? At sa ngalan ng ating director na si Paula Perez, ito po si Sonny Laragan nagsasabing thank you very much so sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay, no? We will do it again next week, hopefully with Attorney Dana live mula ho sa Athens, Greece. So till then, take care, God bless, and good night. Bye!
Bye!
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you. So you can be there for them.